Walking the streets, truth under attack. Everybody's loud, nobody's got facts. Feeds keep scrolling, nerves stay tight. Matchsticks flicked in the dead of night. They sell fear, cheap package the lies, while the clock keeps ticking, empires on fire. Can't sit quiet while the world's on edge. Lines in the sand, standing on the ledge. No script, no leash, no polish, quiet. Just a voice in the dark and a spark to the wire. This is and I'll bring the fire. Gonna light it higher. No filter, no fear, I say it raw. Strike the match, let it burn through the fog. This is and I'll bring the fire. And I'll bring the fire. Everybody's selling truth like a brand, buying opinions they don't understand. Talking in circles, screaming online. Keyboard courage, borrowed spines. Power plays dressed up as peace. Same old wolves with different teeth. But silence is loud when the house is burning. And the fuse is short, yeah, it's still learning. I don't dance for the left or the right. I stand in the heat, I stand in the fight. No strings, no chains, no manufactured choir. Just gasoline thoughts and an open lighter. This is and I'll bring the fire. Gonna light it higher. No filter, no fear, I say it raw. Strike the match, let it burn through the fog. This is and I'll bring the fire. And I'll bring the fire. World's on tilt, pressure climbing. Truth don't whisper, it's perfect timing. You can't cancel the smoke, you can't stop flame. Say my name when it hits, say my name. Why? Say my name. Say my name. Fire don't ask permission. Fire don't need a side. Fire just shows up honest and exposes the lie. This is and I'll bring the fire. Truth is harder. Burn it down till what's real survives. No smoke, no mirrors, just heat and lies. And I'll bring the fire. And I'll bring the fire. America, fire. Strike it. Let it speak.
What's up, everybody? Happy hump day. We're going to get through it. We're going to do it as we need to. Lots of news today, man. What a night we had last night. I don't know if you guys were watching the South Carolina primary, but it was delicious. Watching it on X was so fun as the establishment FAGA shills, man, were freaking out as Trump's pick Darlene Graham won. We're going to talk a lot about that today because it's important to understand why they were so upset and what's all going on with that. On top of that, we have major updates coming in from Iran, but not just Iran, Russia, Ukraine, war with Britain. Yeah, wild stuff coming out. So we got to cover that, see what's going on. Lots of speculation about what Radcliffe was doing over there in Moscow. So we'll have that. Some of insights from Trump's interview with Glenn Beck. We have a whole lot of wins coming out from the Trump administration, deportations, economy, et cetera, et cetera. And of course, we got a Grifter Report, which today's will be a little more lighthearted. We got some funny stuff in the Grifter Report. So you guys buckle up. Fasten your seatbelts. Let's have a good time today. For the next couple hours, I will be hanging out with you all. So hit that like, hit that subscribe, grab your favorite snack, have your lunch, have your breakfast, get your favorite drink if you're not working today. Probably shouldn't drink at work. Unless it's a sparkling water like I got. Cheers. My wife asked me yesterday, she was like, were you drinking beer on your live? It's like, no, that's my sparkling water. I drink only beer on members' lives or nighttime lives. I don't drink beer on daytime lives unless we're like live streaming a major event. Maybe in that case, but maybe on a Friday. I don't know. But I got a lot of people getting salty at me the last couple days. So, if I had beer in me, it would be a lot saltier. I gotta say it takes the edge off, loosens the censorship, the self-censorship. I was uncensored on X last night as I was having fun, absolutely roasting establishment people. And I gotta tell you guys, for all the people who get upset at me, all this, sometimes it's just fun to troll people. It is. And I get it. I know why the trolls come in here, but see, on X, it's different. I'm not going to somebody's account, like sitting on watching their video, trolling them. No, I just see stuff pop up on my feed and I'm like, what? That's ridiculous. And so gotta, knock them down a peg or two sometimes. There's so much retarded stuff being shared out there. There are so many bad takes and we got a lot of them to talk about today, as so many people just don't seem to understand what happened in South Carolina last night. The smooth brains are not able to think critically at all. They're just very... last night was a good indicator of who understands it and who doesn't, who gets what's actually happening in the world and who is out to lunch. So anyways, all right, let's get into it. You guys know the rules. Love the chat. Appreciate it. Hit me up with your questions, comments, disagreements, as long as you're respectful. I have no problem with respectful disagreements. But if you're a troll, now I get to be a hypocrite because I will ban trolls on my stream. Because it's one thing to just keep, it's like if you threw out one comment or shared my stuff, that's fine. That's your prerogative. But if you're going to spam my chat with all kinds of nonsense and take away other people's ability to have a good conversation, you're getting crushed. I'm sending you out. And the mods are sending you out, including Samurai Shogun, the dreaded DEI hire mod who gets more ruthless by the day, and Moody Waters, the angry Canadian who is vicious with the ban button. So watch out for those moderators, folks. They know exactly what to do. They know exactly how to crush you all. And then there's some nicer ones who lurk in the shadows, but they'll get you too. So hit it up in the chat. Let's have a good time. This is the best community on YouTube, best community online. And I'm not, that's not hyperbole. It's the truth. I don't care what anybody else says. It is the best, and it's the best because we patrol it. We keep it so everybody can have good conversations. And I do try to make it a big part of the show. If you don't like that, I'm sorry, don't watch the live show. Watch my clips. All right, we can do all that. And that's why I provide multiple ways of watching my analysis. Some people are like, we love your analysis, but we hate when you talk to people. I'm like, sorry, I like people. I do. I like conversations. And I like the challenge of you guys hitting me up with stuff out of the blue. It's fun for me. So, okay, let me get to some shout outs. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. Let's do some shout outs to the people who've shown up. Let's start on the ROMs because it's smaller but not unimportant. And I love the people over there. Holy Smoked, Pixel Snap, Chrissy Katz, Nels, Accelerate Growth, holding it down over there with Brenda Joy on the ROMs. Welcome, guys. Thank you for watching. Here on the tubes. Sorry, X and Kick. I know I'm streaming there, but I can't see your chats. It's just the system doesn't show them. So I still love you guys, but I can't talk to you. Here on the tubes, Golden Code numero uno today. Nick Majors, Taya Dime, Mr. J, Saved by Grace, In and Out Keys, Pat M, LED, Sean Dugan, Chicky Rogue, Janice Bain, Nick Majors, Dadbot Todd, Kevin Tweedy, Lil Rue, Black Shepherd, Jalmar, Michael Bull, Tammy Anderson, Sean Dugan, Jen, Black Shepherd, Rattler, Drewski, Huckleberry Squid, Rooster Owls, K Shuey, Gen X Maga, Rome Dog, Rafi, User, Leslie Wicker, Dan the Man Green, Gray Fog, MFN Tango, Mark DeGoul, Kevin Tweedy, Susan Burnich, Jim Atkin, Gray Fog, Mellykin, Nick Majors, Lindsay B, Michael Argenti, Foundation Preacher, Stephen McCaslin, AJ Trader for Life, and many more. Can't get to y'all, guys. We'd be here all day, but I love y'all. Appreciate you. Thanks for watching. Hit the, you guys know what to do. Already a couple of super chats running in. With all due respect, this is horrible for us. In South Carolina, Nordone will be eaten alive by Andrews. A lot of people are pissed and won't be voting for. I will see your bet, and I will bet you 5-1 odds that Darlene Graham will win the South Carolina primary. And the people who are pissed are all the wrong people who are always wrong and always lose elections. And as I'm going to show you in my first segment. But thank you for the super chat. I do appreciate it. And I'm just going to have to show you how I'm right on this one. But thank you for being respectful and having disagreements with me. Gray Fog with a $5 super chat as well says, overseas fan, you're working positively. Appreciate it. Thank you, Gray Fog. That's very appreciated. Thank you so much. Listen, I am going to get deep into the South Carolina primary here in a minute, so don't worry. My analysis will be there. I will tell you why all the doubters, all the haters, all the panicans are wrong, and why we're going to win. So we'll get to that in a minute. But as always, guys, if you want to support the channel, super chats are guaranteed to be read, questions answered, etc., etc. And if you want to support the chat, support the show, as I am a listener, viewer, supporter show, you can also join the membership. Get in the description, click the Patreon link, get a free month to try it out. Chiosab with a $2 super chat says, castrate the commies and tell them it's circumcision. Oh, that's just mean. That's just mean. I don't want to do that. I don't want to go there, but it's tempting. Albert, how about a little love for Buffalo, New York, and the Bills? You know what? Right now, the Bills, because of Josh Allen, are my second favorite team. I root for them. When the Niners aren't in it, I root for the Bills. I want to see Buffalo get a Super Bowl. They deserve it. I want to see Josh Allen win because he's the best quarterback in football. He's better than Mahomes, and he's been screwed over time and time again. And so I do. I like Buffalo. Respect. Doc Note with the 5 American Fire memberships. Thank you for that, friend. If you got a membership, you now can watch the members only shows and just go to the community posts, find the links. Did a members live on Sunday you might want to check out. Dan the Man Green says they're castrating themselves. Yeah, we don't even need to do it. It's true. They castrate themselves and abort their own babies, which is awful. Can I just get on with this show? You guys are hilarious. Kat would love to sit and chat doing house cleaning as the program's on, so it's your television. Thanks, Kat, for checking in. Glad you're watching and appreciate you. As long as you hit that like, that's all I care about. Hit the like, hit the hype if you got it, and which does not pop up on live shows, but it is what it is. Why don't I hate commies? I don't hate people in general. I hate ideologies. Most people who are commies are just stupid. They just don't know any better. But yeah, and I don't believe in ever forcefully castrating anybody. I'm just sorry, I don't. But unless they've committed some horrific crime. Okay, anything else before we get started here? You guys are on it today. Very fired up, I can tell. I love it. Lots of energy for a hump day. Usually on Wednesday, people are dragging, but I can tell you guys are fired up. Another reason it's the best chat on YouTube. And yeah, we're gonna follow that through and prove it more today. So, shall we get to it? I know there's half the people that are like, "Oh Lord, your stinking intros are so long." Hey, Shuey says, "Are you drinking during your live and where are your pants?" I like turtles. Listen. I do have pants on, but they are basketball shorts. Some would not consider those pants. And I'm drinking my sparkling water. Thank you very much. And there's no vodka in it. Some would say, unfortunately, but we could always do that. I'm too soft. Man, you guys are bringing it today. I think I stirred something up yesterday. I think I stirred something up with the long-winded engagement with the crowd, the masculine energy talk, the infighting, the calling people retarded, the people, offending people. I think it got stirred up, and now I've created a monster, but I like it. I like this monster. This is a great monster. This is like a Monsters Inc. monster. It's one you want to hang out with. It's the best kind. So you guys are awesome. All right. Well, let me get in the first segment. Again, if you guys got questions, comments, disagreements with me, please tag me so I can find it. Because as the chat grows, as the people pour in, the chat goes pretty fast, hard to find it. Or as always, you can super chat if you want to support the show. Big guaranteed. Lips have something to be cut off. You don't believe it? Ouch. Michael Argenti says Bannon was for Fishback in Florida and Norman, South Carolina. How's he doing? Well, that tells you a lot of what you need to know, isn't it? What a fraud. Yeah, Darlene is not Lindsay. That is also true. How can you be establishment if you haven't been a part of it? If you haven't been in it? So you can Uber beer, not in every state. Some states don't allow it. It is what it is. Lero says, good evening. Where are you at? It's morning over here. Well, noon. It's noon. But yeah, they're all these people have been on the wrong side of things. Okay. All right, let's get into it. Hit the like, subscribe, guys, and I will stop after the segment and answer more questions, comments. All righty? Let's do this. Last night in South Carolina, Darlene Graham, sister of deceased Lindsey Graham, won running away with it. And yes, some will say, well, wasn't that big of a win? Well, it was, considering the fact that she was supposed to lose. This was, and I'm going to show you here in a minute what the predictions were, but she won by 6 points. That's a convincing win, especially against a candidate that had the entire establishment, influencer, podcaster, phagosphere behind him. Yeah, wonder why. Funny how that always happens. So Trump, of course, boasting, loving it. He got Darlene Graham through, proving once again that he is by far the most powerful person in the Republican Party. He owns the Republican Party. And this is the latest and maybe greatest example of that, because this was one of the times where everybody was watching and they actually thought they were going to take one of Trump's picks down and get some momentum. And it didn't work. Interesting, isn't it? So look at this. See, this is how it was going before the actual election. Republicans expect Darlene Graham to lose the South Carolina runoff. This was yesterday, right before noon. Despite a Trump endorsement and big money behind her, senators showing signs of struggle as she runs for a full term in her late brother's seat. Signs of struggle. Internal polls say. Yeah, it didn't work out that well, did it? Rich Barris, he was out there pushing his slop, his Bannon-endorsed propaganda. The only final public poll shows Darlene Graham and Ralph Northam deadline just below 50 with 4%. He means deadlocked. This man cannot type. Just below 50% with 4% undecided. That is true. That was the last big poll. But here's the flavor. Here's the fun. Northam internals showed them up over Graham by somewhat sizable margin now. And it was Norman, not Northam, buddy. But anyways, it's okay. It's okay. We don't expect accuracy from you, Rich Barris. But yeah, so he puts this out there, letting everybody know, it doesn't look good for Graham. She's going to fall apart. It's a big loss. America First Insight, supposedly one of the big MAGA accounts on X. Vote for Ralph Norman. TP Action endorsed, FCF endorsed, AFI endorsed. Why were they all going in on this one? See, Trump endorsed Darlene Graham. What does that mean for us? Now, we don't have to be automatons. However, we do have a leader. We have a leader, and when that leader makes an endorsement, it doesn't mean we always have to get behind. Like, I disagreed with Byron Donalds. The problem with Ralph Norman is he's not a staunch conservative. He's a Ted Cruz establishment type conservative. who is conservative in his votes and how he talks, but behind the scenes, he's a swampy swamp creature. You know how I know that? He endorsed Nikki Haley. That should tell you all you need to know, folks. Nikki Haley is the swampiest swamp rat in the Republican Party. She's right up there with every bad egg you could think of. She's basically the Hillary Clinton of the Republicans. And Norman loved her and she loved him back. And that's all that I needed to know, along with all the other people endorsing him. And they were big mad, folks. Big mad. For one thing, here's Daniel Horowitz, RMC conservative, editor of The Blaze. Not when Trump is hell-bent on serving as the Air Force for the worst Republicans, yet all the self-appointed base influencers make him into a god. Wow, big mad. Hey, Glenn Beck, you might want to speak to your boy because he's a retard. Because anybody making the case that Trump is the problem in the Republican Party is a moron. This is the man who's gotten rid of almost every major rhino in the last 20 years in the Republican Party and is working on the rest of them. This is a man who single-handedly gave us the America First agenda, which is working and is propelling us into far more wins than any other Republican president in modern history, maybe ever. He is doing pretty much everything we could ask of him and more, fulfilling his promises. And he's the problem? This is retarded. And why are they pushing it? Why are they so mad about this one? They were more mad about this one than Cornyn losing. More mad than Cassidy. Why? Because they actually thought this one had a chance. Oh, but he's also, I should point out, joining forces, senior editor of The Blaze, again, Glenn Beck's been on point with Trump, but his boy here is promoting the establishment Republicans and Kyle Seraphin, the fraudulent huckster. Kyle Seraphin is like your voice of reason? Really? Huh. Kind of tells me all I need to know about Norman here, the people behind him. Oh, Owen Schroyer was upset. When Owen Schroyer's upset, guys, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. The guy who's gone bleach blonde, 80s style Fagatron with his hairstyle to try to make a point of which we all don't know what it is. Says MAGA went from being against Lindsey Graham to being so sucked into a cult mind they now support his sister just because. How about the idea that maybe your sister isn't exactly you? How about that? You ever think about that? How about that? How about the fact that you can't really be establishment if you were never in the establishment, if you've never worked for the Republicans? Interesting thought. True. It's Lindsey Graham's sister. And Lindsey Graham, as we know, was a neocon. 100%. Nobody is saying otherwise. But it's also true he was one of the most important senators for the MAGA agenda. Why? Because for some reason, Lindsey Graham, this old school establishment Republican, neocon, also voted 100% of the time what Trump wanted him to vote and also helped push a lot through. Why? I don't know. Maybe Trump just showed him a better way. Maybe Trump had leverage over him. I don't know. None of us do, actually. We can speculate. But the fact is that, like Lindsey Graham or not, despite his faults, which were many, the guy was awesome for MAGA in the Senate in general. And that's a fact. So why would Trump not trust his sister who's willing to come up and basically says, you know what? I'm inexperienced, but I'll give you everything you want because I believe in your agenda. Of course you endorse that. Instead of the guy who went for Nikki Haley in the primaries? Come on. This isn't rocket science, folks. And anybody trying to tell you that Darlene Graham is somehow the establishment take, that she's somehow bad for South Carolina, it's retarded. And you can have that argument all you want, but you've been psyoped, folks. You've either been psyoped or you're one of them. because there's no argument to be made for it. The establishment got behind Norman. And friends, these are facts. We got another America first, conservative, MAGA realist, America only. I couldn't care less about Ralph Norman losing today. Winning today is about Darlene Graham losing. Why? Why are all these influencers going in so hard? These anti-Trump influencers going in so hard on there. Oh, Scott Presler. MAGA boy Scott Presler. There's been a lot of rumors about Scott Presler, who he actually is behind the scenes. And folks, he kind of showed himself last night. This guy has been pushing it, and I'm not denying that Scott Presler's done some good things, because guess what? You can do good things even if you're owned by the other side. Sometimes the interests align. But Scott Presler came out last night. Get out and vote for Ralph Norman in the Senate today. Hey, Scott, I got to tell you something. You should stick with Trump. You should stick with actual winners, not losers. And when you go where the establishment is going, you're going to lose. And also, we're like our leader. MAGA doesn't forget. We don't forget. So when you pull something like this, it's not going to end well for you, buddy. Just trying to tell you that. You probably shouldn't do it. Here is a little, this guy, he's a small guy, but he put this out there because he's supposedly a Trump guy. And yet he shares this. This tells you how this derangement psyop retardation is. Okay? Look at this. Nikki Haley goes against Trump, endorsing Ralph Norman for South Carolina Senate race over Darlene Graham. Why would you share that? Because as soon as you share that, you make the case for why she didn't deserve to win. Trump screwed up yet another race, he says. He could have endorsed Norman Fleming Demuth, but he insists on endorsing bad candidates. The fact that he refused to endorse Ralph for governor or Senate is a really bad look for him. Says who? Says a handful of establishment shills? Sorry, it's not true. Chip Roy, you know, the guy who supported Trump's getting impeached, the guy who is in Texas telling everybody to wear their masks for the pandemic, that true MAGA Republican, show up for Ralph Norman, y'all. Nope, not going to. And we didn't. It's not going to happen. Now, Ralph Norman, the class act, after losing, this guy that everybody's trying to convince me and others is truly a good American, truly America first, true conservative, true MAGA. Well, he had a concession speech last night and went just as pathetically as a fraud's concession speech should go. Listen to this.
South Carolina made the decision. We had $8 million spent against us. We couldn't come up with that much money. But people were great to me. All of our money came from South Carolina and from my personal account. My opponents, the money came from outside PACs. I mean, it's a fact. I'm not being critical. It's just the PACs that were against.
Sore loser.
To me, freedom. It's Democrats. They got what they wanted. I get that.
This is such loser think. This is so pathetic. It is. You know what he's doing right now? He's trying to, first of all, this is a guy who said he supports Trump, and now he's saying that Democrats got what they want when Trump endorsed her? Huh. Did you read the room, buddy? I don't think you did, because you just got your ass handed to you. But on top of that, he has to play the money card. Well, Trump won with 3 times the money being spent against him, and he did it twice. What's your excuse? Maybe you just suck. You sound like loser, like Thomas Massey. Oh, that AIPAC money. This is ridiculous. But he goes further.
But the president got involved. He has that right. That's his prerogative. As I told, his.
So his crowd, Norman's crowd, is a bunch of anti-Trump rhinos. Thanks for showing us who you are. We only have the greatest Republican president in at least since Lincoln. in 150 years, and yet who's done more for America than Greg Norman has in a much longer career in politics, and they're booing Trump? I see exactly what we're dealing with here. This is not a MAGA candidate. This is the establishment candidate.
Policies are good. I never understood why he got in this race to beat,
Oh, why did Trump get in?
It is what it is, and I'll accept it. We will something good, and I've always said something good will come out of this.
Dude, you're the Republican. You're supposed to be America first. You're supposed to, in your concession speech, be like, kudos to Darlene. I couldn't overcome her advantages. She did what she needed to do. And now let's focus on beating the Democrats in the fall. That is your speech, not, oh man, the Democrats got what they wanted. I wish President Trump hadn't come in. You sound like a 10-year-old baby sitting on the sideline of the field in the soccer game at lunch because you stubbed your toe and that big meanie pushed you. That's what this guy sounds like. Not a grown-ass man who's been in politics forever. Are you serious right now? This is pathetic. What an absolute loser. I barely knew who he was before the other day because I didn't care. Graham was going to win the whole time. When it's outside of my state, although South Carolina is next door to me, when it's outside of my state most of the time, I can't follow every candidate. But man, the more I learn about this guy, the more I'm glad he just got shellacked. So let's look a little bit at his record. He supported the Rhino. He supported Nikki Haley. Norman, this is back in 2024. His endorsement for Nikki Haley. Norman addressed the elephant in the room, saying the Republican Party is looking for a new vision at the top of the ticket. That's as establishment as it gets, folks. Let's push Trump out. In 2016, President Trump was exactly what the Republican Party needs. However, the Republican Party has entered a season of change. We're at a pivotal juncture. Nikki Haley has that vision, and she's going to be outstanding president. Well, once a loser, always a loser, huh, Norman? You sure know how to pick them. He says, you always know exactly where Nikki stands. Yeah, how about with the deep state city of London? How about with the Uniparty? From her time in the State House and as governor, there's never a shred of doubt she'd do what she believed was right for the people she served. Yes, her foreign payments, the enemy of our country, but her benefactors. Even as governor, everyone knew she was destined for bigger things. Did we? Because apparently not, since she barely got about 10% of the primary votes. And, Derek puts it this way, and I love this post right here because it sums it up so well. And we're in a unique place right now. This is not, we're in a war. We're in a war to get our country back on track. It's a political war. It's an emotional war. It's an economic war. And there is no going back from this point. We're at a pivotal point in history. This is the time in history where you get behind your general and you follow. I don't always believe that, and I don't believe that's always the time for that, but this is one of those times for the next several years until we're clicking, and then we can have debates. Then we can be more of a, which way do we want the party to go? But right now, Trump is the leader we need, and he's our general, and we need to follow because it's wartime. And Derek says it like this. He says, Trump wants her. That makes her deserving. Absolutely. This is to all that nonsense out there that she's not qualified. Well, according to the Constitution, she is, and that's ultimately what matters. Right, libertarians? We just want a constitutional republic. Of course, there are a lot of the retards out there being like, she's the least qualified candidate ever. Well, not according to the Constitution, which I thought you guys cared about. It says this isn't specifically about Trump either. There are times in politics where all of a party's power is amassed into one man, one mover who determines where the party goes next. That man is Trump right now. He's the power center. 100%. In fact, last night just proved beyond a shadow of doubt that Trump is more powerful than ever in a state with a primary standing alone last night with all the focus on it. The establishment went all in on a guy and they got shellacked again. Trump continues to prove that he is the Republican Party right now. So get in the car and let's go winning, or be the crying loser on the sideline. But where Trump goes, the party goes. Now, Greta Van Susteren put out this fascinating piece last night. It says, tonight I've read several places that Senator Darlene Graham has no political experience, yet was chosen. I decided to find out how many others in the Senate in the last 30 years had no political experience and were elected, and an interesting list. Look at this. Notable examples since 1996 with no prior elected office. Oh, but Darlene's so unqualified. Well, look at Hillary Clinton, Al Franken, Ron Johnson. He turned out to be a pretty good senator. Mike Lee, not a bad senator at all. Rand Paul, I mean, it's mixed, but hey, he's been there a long time. Ted Cruz, Elizabeth Warren, ugh. But still, Mike Braun, pretty darn good senator. Tuberville, I'll take it. Mark Kelly, blat. Ossoff, J.D. Vance. Katie Britt, Bernie Moreno, like both of them. McCormick, strong winner right there as well. Oh, all of them had no prior experience. Huh. I guess Darlene's perfectly in the historical norms for becoming a senator. Don't believe these lies, folks. They want you to believe the most nonsensical lies. And it's crazy. Will Chamberlain put this out. The underlying story here is that the Congressional Freedom Caucus is dead. You know what the Congressional Freedom Caucus is? Congressional Freedom Caucus, where all those hardcore conservatives that banded together in the House and decided our whole goal is to say no to everything. It's like Thomas Massey's wet dream. Like they all got together and, got together in a bathhouse and did you-know-what with each other as they all decided we're never going to vote for anything. And yeah, in the time of Obama, that was great. That was great. They got a little, following during that time. Got a little power as they got to control the direction of Congress whenever the Republicans were. But the problem is then we got a president who wanted to do stuff. A president who understands the importance in politics of making deals to move forward, and we could actually trust to do so. And guess what? They still said no to everything. And they became part of the establishment, part of the problem. Well, we now know they are absolutely dead. Chip Roy, by the way, who's been made his appearance here, he's one of them. And this makes sense. 2010 era Tea Party right libertarianism doesn't have a real constituency anymore, and it was never that strong to begin with. Yeah, we've weeded them all out because we have no value for them anymore. That entire grandstanding politics, now that we actually need yeses, now that we actually need to build, they need to go bye-bye. And last night was a massive blow to them. The wake-up call continues as they lost Massey and now they lost here. But that wasn't Trump's only win last night. He also pulled off an upset in Oklahoma. See, Oklahoma had a rhino gubernatorial candidate who was actually in favor of backdoor amnesty. So Trump threw his endorsement behind a real MAGA candidate, and guess what? He pulled it off. So the cleansing of the Republican Party continues. It's a beautiful thing to watch. Now, this is why you don't go against Trump. This in 2024, 23 for 23 on Senate candidates and 215 out of 219 on House candidate endorsements. See, Trump knows the winners. And yeah, again, sometimes they're not the best choice in a perfect world. I get that. I acknowledge that. The problem is a lot of times those idealistic, perfect candidates can't win. They suck at politics. And so if you go in behind them and split the ticket, you lose down the road in the election that matters, which is the one in November. So what does Trump do? He's the ultimate pragmatist. I'm going to pick off the ones I can pick off, build up a more MAGA Senate, which, by the way, after November, will have the most MAGA Senate MAGA House we've ever had. Thank you, President Trump. But yeah, there's still going to be a few rhinos in there, but it's still better than a Democrat. And that's what Trump understands. He says, I was told MAGA's dead, yet Trump keeps winning, winning, and winning. In other words, guys, if the polls doubt Trump on anything, especially in Republican primaries, guess what? They're wrong. And anybody betting against Trump is going to be wrong too, as Rich Barris keeps embarrassingly finding out. Now, we have a lot of momentum now heading into November, but the biggest momentum is going to start in September with this right here. When the convention starts, when it's pushed forward, we get out the national message, and then they double down on spending. That's when the race is going to get very interesting. We're only a couple weeks off now. Republican midterm, here's what it's going to look like. Trump's coming on both nights, and his keynote address is on the second night. J.D. Vance will be making the keynote address on the first night. Oh, I thought Trump hates J.D. I thought Trump is done with J.D. There's a split with J.D. Vance. Trump isn't happy. Trump's pushing J.D. out. Oh, yeah? J.D.'s not popular. Come on, people. You know, the most annoying thing I have to deal with on my show is the non-stop retarded psyops that keep coming around in circles. Every time they're debunked, somebody brings them back again. These emotional arguments. I have something to tell you all. Just because you want it to be true doesn't make it true. And regardless of what you think, Vance is a major part of Trump's agenda. Trump loves J.D. Vance, and J.D. Vance is popular. That doesn't mean he's going to be the candidate. I think Rubio has a very fair shot of taking that over, but it won't be in a fight. It'll be because they all decide together that's the right choice for the right time. It won't be because they're pushing Vance out. Just sorry, facts are facts, even if your feelings don't like them. Night one, 53 items and speakers. They are packing this thing full. Night two, 56. This is going to be loaded. It's going to be awesome. And I can't wait to watch it because it's going to shoot us forward. And I think we're going to have an epic midterms, especially because we're going up against morons like this. Right now in the Republican Party, there is one possibility you have for maybe winning the midterms, and it's to pick off the Maha moms who might not be happy because they voted for Trump for RFK Jr. and they've been told they're not getting anything from that. They've been told, which is a big old lie, as we'll discuss in another segment. But the point is, they might lean a little left. They didn't like Kamala, but they don't really like Trump either. You can pick them off in the midterms until you say dumb stuff like this. This is a Democratic candidate for South Carolina Democrat, and what she's saying about Maha.
This is one of the reasons Democrats winning across the country in November is so urgent. If we take the House and we take the Senate, we can impeach and remove RFK Jr. And if we don't, he's going to have 2 more years of unfettered access to America's public health infrastructure. And that will be disastrous.
Please keep running this narrative. Please, I beg of you, Democrats, be this stupid. Go after the most popular figure in the Trump administration with suburban women. Please do it. I'm begging you, because this will guarantee you lose overwhelmingly. These people are so stupid. They can't get out of their own way. But, you know, they have great candidates, right? Talafrico, Abdul Sayed, cousin lover out in Maine. They're really running them out there. Full-on communists, Colorado, New York. And then we got this one right here, who's literally eating her campaign. Morbidly obese Democratic congressional candidate Katie Padilla Stout, what a last name for a stout woman, is under fire after FEC records show she spent $4,300 of campaign donations on tacos, cookies, and liquor over the past 4 months. These are your Democratic candidates, folks. Listen, if we don't win, we deserve to lose. She's literally eating her own campaign. So Some things are a little too perfect in life, right, folks? Her last name is Stout, and she's eating her own campaign. I don't know what to tell you, but this is the Democratic Party of today, who, by the way, are freaking out. After Trump's big win yesterday in the Supreme Court, we got a total crash out of the Democrats. And Mark Elias went on, who's the lawyer for the Democrats, who is well known for advancing their agenda through activist judges, as he shows up and makes a case and they all buy it. And it's very unconstitutional, undemocratic, you might say. But he's been losing a lot lately, and he's very, very upset over this. Here's Mark Elias having a full-on crash out for all to see.
Above all else, the effort to commandeer the U.S. Postal Service in a shameful act to turn it into a voter suppression war machine against the citizens of the United States is both unlawful and unconstitutional. That the Constitution gives the president no authority to have done this. That the U.S. Postal Service final rule is not only based on an unlawful executive order, but frankly violates the federal laws that govern the U.S. Postal Service. So yes, I do think time will tell. And what it will tell is a sad tale of an administration insistent on making it harder for you to vote and easier for them to cheat because you have an unpopular president whose party is otherwise going to lose the elections.
Cry more, buddy. Cry more. I didn't know it's harder to vote because if you're a citizen, you get to vote. I don't know. I don't understand that one. But this is the nonsense they peddle. It's so crazy. But there's a lot of people buying it out there. But they're going everywhere, trying to rally their base, crying. But it tells you something, doesn't it? It tells you they expect now to lose. And that's, if you want to know how we're doing, folks, look at the panic on the other side. It's increasing. And one of the reasons it's increasing is not only are they not getting the mail-in ballots anymore, they don't have any money. Look at this discrepancy right here. Ohio gubernatorial future ad reservations. This is a tightly contested race where the Democrat has a legitimate shot to win. And what's happening? She's getting outspent 4-1. Do you know how politics works? You deploy your money to the close races to push it over the edge. If you can't deploy your money to a governorship that could be won, because Vivek's not the most popular Republican, if you're getting outspent 4-1 in a close race, see, money does not buy elections, but it can tip them when they're close. That's the secret they don't want you to know. They want you to believe money buys elections. It doesn't. Usually money follows the more popular candidate. But in this case, the Republicans have all the money. If you're getting outspent 4-1, you better be amazing, but you're not. This is going to go very badly for them as the early returns are coming in. We're starting to see already the cash advantage and how it's playing out. Now, more bad news for the Democrats. The latest poll from ActiVote, and again, polls lie, but they lie left, and trends don't lie. Look at this, Republicans gaining. Now in the latest polls, it's only a 3-point lead for Democrats. Guys, a 3-point lead means we sweep the midterms because we have such, especially because of the redistricting and the striking down the Voting Rights Act, we now have such a structural advantage that they need to beat us by more than 5 points nationally in order to win the House. In other words, they have to have borderline a blue wave even to squeak out a win. And they can't even lie themselves past 3 points in these polls. That is terrible news for them. More terrible news is, as Brian Cates describes here, midterms are secure. Now, I love this analysis. Doesn't mean it's 100% true, but I feel like it is. Look at this. ActBlue shut down. 2, they lost access to Treasury and USAID. Legal hurdle on GPS tracking of mail-in ballots has been cleared at SCOTUS. Everybody's assuming no work's been done, but they're about to find out. Nothing was standing still. The tech's ready and in place. They've been waiting for the right time to roll it out. I believe that, as many times Trump has been told, or Trump has said, we were planning on this for years. His trade guy, in regards to the tariffs, when the Supreme Court struck down the emergency tariff ability for the president, he said, we're ready for this. We've been preparing for a decade. The Trump team doesn't just start things as soon as they find out. They are ready for multiple scenarios. The DOJ under Trump's making it crystal clear whatever BS states want to pull in their federal primaries, general elections going to be conducted according to federal law. Yet they've sent out 1,000 watchers already to certain districts. The ongoing declassifications will continue to build the case that while the U.S. was under control of a shadow government, national security of our nation was previously grievously compromised. Yep. It will continue to be revealed the shadow government has been rigging elections both here in the U.S. and abroad via the same compromised, unsecure election system controlled by the shadow government intel community. Yep. Things should be at a very nice boil around halfway through September, right after the convention, which is when I expect Trump to declare a state of emergency due to national security issues. Well, TBD. We'll see on that one. I'm not 100% convinced he's going to do it, but I believe he's got it in his back pocket in case, if he thinks he does. And by the way, Brian, if you're watching, thanks for sharing my post, buddy. You and She Thinks Freely sharing my post from yesterday on the elections makes me feel very loved. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Now, midterms are one thing, definitely trending in our direction, looking pretty good. And then there's 28, where or I should say, the establishment will try to strike back. It'll be the sequel in the trilogy. But Ted Cruz is making it clear he's going to try. They can't just allow Vance or Rubio to be let in. No, they're going to try to fight. Ted Cruz signals possible 28 challenge to JD Vance. I'll certainly be part of the discussion. As to my thought was immediately, no, Ted, you're going to be immediately or certainly part of the footnote, because anybody who runs against Vance or Rubio is going to get absolutely crushed. As Trump just proved, he was able to drag Darlene Graham across the finish line in an all-out, this woman, no prior experience, name recognition only because of her brother, who was controversial to say the least. Trump's endorsement got her a solid win in the primary against the entire establishment and influencer crowd. The people who think they have power online, but keep finding out they have no real power with the people. Well, Ted Cruz, I'm sorry, buddy, but you're in that boat. You're in that boat. The Republican Party now belongs to Donald Trump and his followers. The Republican Party is now MAGA. For the first time in 20 plus years, since I was too young and dumb to know better, I'm finally proud to call myself a Republican again, because a Republican no longer means neocon. It no longer means establishment. Now Republican means MAGA, because we've thoroughly taken over the party. And sorry, Ted, we're not giving it back. Not now, not in 28, not ever, not on my watch. All right, folks. If you like that segment, please hit the like and subscribe. Got lots more to get to, but we are keeping this winning train rolling. I'm going to get in the chat here in a second, catch up with your questions, comments, super chats, all that stuff. But first, got to ask you guys to like and subscribe. All right, let me check in here. Let's see. $5 super chat from Smokehouse says, that's what Ralph Norman gets for taking a giant dump on the MMTLP community. Oh, that's right. Ralph Norman, this great, true believer, conservative man. Yeah, he also, the endorser of Nikki Haley. Yeah, this guy also made false promises to MMTLP community, the community that had all their stock completely stolen from them. 65,000, 68,000, something like that. Shareholders just lost all their holdings in complete market fraud. Norman promised them he'd look into it and then never followed up. Yep. Just like Thomas Massey as well. Thank you, Smokehouse. Johnny Hinojosa with a $5 super chat says, Jesse Waters did a terrible, horrible job. He has the opportunity to destroy the jihadists. He shit the bed, very low IQ. I'm going to disagree with you on that, Johnny Hinojosa. I think there was a couple segments that went well for Abdul Sayed, but overall, I thought Jesse did a great job exposing. I mean, he got a couple clips out of him that were gold for the Mike Rogers campaign. Okay. Let me see who, anywhere I've been tagged. Yeah, Vivek is not Obama. Come on, guys. Don't just hate on Vivek because he's Indian. There are things I disagree with Vivek on. Okay, he's way too open to immigration. He's way too open to H-1Bs. There's a lot of issues with Vivek. But if you guys think that Vivek will come into governorship in Ohio and be allowed to not run with a MAGA Republican as president, first Trump for 2 years, then Vance or Rubio. If you think Vivek, with that energy as the base, is going to be able to get away with totally screwing over the base, I think you're severely not understanding where we're at right now. You're underestimating it completely. Vivek's going to come in. He's going to be a mostly MAGA type governor who's probably going to try to do a couple dumb things, get rejected, and ultimately he'll be much better for Ohio than a Democrat, but he's never going to have the kind of popularity that Obama had that took him to the White House. That'll never happen. And so he just doesn't have what Obama had behind him. I'll say this, if you're in Ohio and you're MAGA and you don't vote for Vivek, so you basically give this woman a vote by not showing up, that's a stupid thing to do. Vivek is not perfect. In fact, not even close to perfect. He wouldn't be in my top 100 Republicans. But that being said, he's still better by far than the alternative. So you got to show up. Sometimes we have to support people we don't like because they're still better for us or where we're at than the alternative. Joshua says, don't convince yourself we have the midterms in the bag. I never said that, did I? Never said that. But we do have the advantage. And if we show up, we win. And by the way, saying they'll try to steal these midterms, well, duh. But you know what they also try to steal? 2024. And they got shellacked. They tried to steal 2016. They got shellacked. They pulled off 2020. Why? Because they were able to unleash a pandemic and they still had most of the control of the government. That's gone now. That's gone. They're not going to be able to pull off something like that ahead of the midterms. Their ability to steal is greatly diminished. So I don't worry about them stealing the election anymore. And I don't accept that anymore as an excuse or as something to be worried about, because they don't have the ability to fully steal our federal elections anymore. If we show up, that is the key. That is the key. How many white guys are in India's government? Well, India's not exactly a free country, so it's a little different. Gloria says, I didn't vote for Lindsey because of his wishy-washy ways, but I did vote for Darlene, especially seeing that he supported Nikki over Trump for president. That told me who he is. Excellent. See, that's critical thinking right there. Well done. Ted Cruz isn't stupid. You get in so you get offered a cabinet position in exchange for getting out. Well, that worked so well for him in the last two races, didn't it? I think MAGA, I think Trump, Vance, Rubio, they're on to Cruz. He's not going to get a cabinet position. He might, and I say might, I don't necessarily think it. He might get a Supreme Court nomination at some point. But at the same time, I think Trump and MAGA are kind of done with Ted Cruz. You know, he has been, he's undermined Trump too much. Rose says, maybe I'm being uncautious. I think in 28, the whole establishment will be so weak on the verge of total surrender, won't be able to take power back. They're not going to win. I agree with you. They will not win. 28 is so overwhelmingly in favor of a MAGA Republican right now. It's not funny. Doc knows, isn't it funny how Barris always wins by betting against himself? Yeah, right. And that is something. Thank you, Mark R. Family is doing better. We had a rough week and a half, but we're in a much better place now. Thank you. Okay, anybody else here? Okay, Sooner says, Gettner Drummond, who was defeated here in Oklahoma, gave such a sore loser, pathetic concession speech attacking Trump, supported Mazzei for governor of Oklahoma. Exactly. I mean, yeah, they're sore losers. And that kind of tells you who they really are, right? Because if they were actual MAGA Republicans, they'd be happy with the agenda being progressed, whether they lost or not, even if they are upset they didn't win. So Leland says, we don't have a Republican president. We have a 2000s era Dem as president. Well, no. He says, and now it's like formerly saying Congress people had their brain microwave in D.C. They've been unrecommendable. Leland, you're off by a couple decades, but I agree with your overall thesis. You're off by a couple decades, though. We have a 1960s, 1920s, 30s style Democrat, not 2000s. You're seeing the 2000s. See, the Democrats have been going bad for a while. It was a little bit at a time. Okay. It really started at a power level with Lyndon B. Johnson, but you could go back further to Woodrow Wilson. But they've been infiltrated for a long time, but so is the Republican Party. But when it really came to power was Lyndon B. Johnson with the Great Society and all that. And then you got Jimmy Carter, who was awful, Bill Clinton, Obama. So Trump's not like any of them. Who he's most like is JFK when it comes to modern presidents, who they, of course, killed quickly. So, and even most Democrats weren't like JFK then. But you're right. He is like old school. Let's see. Listen, if you guys are wondering about Ted Cruz votes. He votes the right way almost all the time. Okay. But he's a snake. He is a power hungry snake. Every opportunity he's had to undermine Trump, he's taken. You know what he's like? He's like the Daily Wire conservatives, like Ben Shapiro types, Matt Walsh types, who talk a good game, who it's definitely more positive than not with them. However, when it comes to preserving our institutions as they are, they will do that. That's not helpful. Okay. They will keep things going in that direction. Ted Cruz also he's happy to say things to your face and stab you in the back in the dark. And this has happened many times with Ted Cruz. I've covered several of the times he's come out and said crazy things. He was actively promoting DeSantis against Trump. He ran against Trump in 2016. He's not in any, but well, I can't say everybody, but I know many people who've known him personally and say he's just a jerk. So I don't trust Ted Cruz. I would definitely not trust him as president. You know where he's at right now? In the Senate. It's the perfect place for him. Just leave him there because he'll vote conservative because he knows what gets him in power. But Cruz is like neocon conservative. He's not MAGA. He doesn't understand what we're actually trying to do here. Or he doesn't care. Yeah, he screwed Ben Carson in 2016. Yeah, he can't trust him. Doc No says he's a snake, isn't as eloquent as John Kennedy with his folksy Southern drawl. Look how they do, not how they talk. 100%. Yeah. You think Matt Walsh is great, even when he's promoting all kinds of hoaxes against the Trump campaign? Matt Walsh has moments that are great, and I'll give you that. His like, what is a woman movie. He's had some good stuff, but the dude is so quick to jump on the establishment bandwagon whenever it suits him. Matt Walsh is kind of a fraud. I'm sorry. He just is. I mean, he just ran that whole $20 burrito nonsense right before the midterms, trying to take out Trump before the midterms with this whole narrative. Dude, you got to understand the grifter playbook when it's right in front of you. Did I hear about 3 SS, you mean Secret Service officials put on leave? I haven't seen that yet, no. Andrew Thompson with a $10 super chat says Ted Cruz looks like Count Chocula. He kind of does. What Count Chocula used to say is like the chocolate is so good. I can't do it very well. Anything else here real quick? Cruz might be okay as a SCOTUS judge because he would know what got him there. The problem with Cruz as a SCOTUS judge is I could see him being one of those guys who pulls like a John Roberts on us, okay? And where he comes in super conservative, very supported by the Republican Party, push through. And then when it comes to like major important issues, he finds a conservative reason to oppose what we need done. Mr. Wizard said, I don't pay attention to him on X, but watching his show, he's always based. Again, Matt Walsh is like 80-20. Okay. 80% of it's great, maybe even 90%, but that 10 to 20% where he's putting stuff in there, we live in a time where all these people in power, be it politics or media, we have to be skeptical of them because we've been given a gift, and that is an actual true American patriot running our country and moving us in the right direction. That's a gift from God. He saved us from stuff we didn't even know we needed to be saved from. So that being said, when people choose to side in the stuff that's going against Trump, even when it's based or when things are happening that are clearly happening and they are acting like they're not, we have to look at those tells and realize, oh, we might not be able to trust this person. Look, I do this completely independently on my own, and I see things that these people apparently don't see or lie about, and they don't have an excuse because this is their job. They have money, they have staff, they have production behind them. They should be the most informed people of the world. So I don't give them the excuse that they don't know or see some of the things that clearly contradict what they say, especially when it's negative to our president. So they don't get that excuse. So it tells me something negative about them. And usually that negative thing is they're bought and paid for by somebody else, or they're running a game for somebody else. Either that or they're frauds and they just don't actually pay attention. They're just spoon-fed what to read. Okay, fine. That's a possibility too. But this is how you have to read these things right now. Because again, we're in wartime. We are in political wartime. We win now or we don't win for generations. Okay. Mr. says, I'll trust you over Matt every time. I kind of see what okay. Thanks, Mr. Wizard. I appreciate that. Listen, we've all been pushing. We've all been duped by people. Okay. Mark Art says, Count Chocula's most famous slogan is, I want to eat your cereal. That's what it was. Thread says, Clarence Thomas was a far left psychopath till he saw the light. Sometimes the absolute best conservatives, the best true Americans are the ones who were on the opposite side and then came to see the light. So Hod says, I need to start talking about House real estate tax being accepted by the Supreme Court in D.C., have effects on all 50 states. I mean, I'll talk about it when it really starts gaining momentum. But yes, there's a case before Supreme Court about property tax that could be overturn property tax nationwide. So that would be huge. That'd be huge. Man, I hope they get that Disclosure Act passed to show who these guys are paid for. That'd be amazing. Michael Pack says, I think Cruz and Rubio are largely the same. Don't trust Rubio unless he's on Trump's short lease. Vance guy, let Rubio prove his loyalty as VP for 8 years. I mean, I understand why you say that. I've been convinced. Rubio's already won me over. He'd actually won me over before he got Secretary of State because I followed how closely loyal he was to Trump. Rubio risked a lot of political capital by going all in for Trump. He didn't just go to Trump when it was easy. He jumped all in on Trump when Trump was being attacked with all the legal stuff, when all the establishment Republicans were jumping on the DeSantis train, when the conservative influencers were jumping on the DeSantis train. Rubio went to Trump against his political party, against his the people he used to caucus with. That's when I knew Rubio was all in, and I can trust Rubio. But I will say that I still think Vance would be the better president. I have a lot of reasons for that. I'm not going to go into them right now because I'm going to get half the chat in a tizzy. But I do believe Vance will be the better president, and it's not just about who knows foreign policy better. It's about who is going to be the one rebuilding America after Trump. After Trump had to break things and build a new foundation, who's going to be better at bridging America together? And it's Vance. Vance is just going to be better at that. Sorry, it's just a fact. But Vance might not run. In which case Rubio will win. And Rubio will be a wonderful president. Don't get me wrong. These are both wonderful, perfect men for the next president and hopefully the next two presidents. But for what we need right after Rubio, I think Vance is a better pick. I mean, right after Trump, I think Vance is better. Reeser with a $2 super chat says, an incredible perspective. Godspeed. Thank you, Reese. I thank you for that. Rubio likes Pop-Tarts. Yes, and Rubio is very anti-communist. Absolutely. The thing is, Rubio's specialty is foreign policy. Vance's specialty is domestic. After Trump, we need and again, Rubio will do great if he's president, but we'll need domestic more after Trump's gone. And Rubio would be a better wartime president. Vance is going to be a better peacetime president. That's how I'm looking at it. So Vance is polished in the right way. I agree with that. Yeah. He's going to be he's going to bridge gaps. He will. Vance knows how to communicate to the middle and the other side better than Rubio does. Okay. All right, let's get into this. Claudine says Vance is too close to Peter Thiel. Listen, I've done this 100 times, the Vance Thiel stuff. Guys, to me, it's no different than saying Trump was too close to Epstein. These people know each other. They sometimes, benefit from each other, but it doesn't mean they're necessarily as bad as the other one. Thiel has literally no hold in the Trump administration at the moment. Thiel's in Argentina right now. The government has contracts with Palantir, but Thiel he's not consulting. He's not going up to the White House. We haven't seen there's just no evidence that Vance is controlled by Thiel. He just had, Thiel liked him. Thiel supported him in his Senate run. And that's basically it. I mean, yeah, he worked for Thiel's company, but that doesn't mean that Vance is evil. I'm sorry. It's just this whole guilt by association game is ridiculous. I don't know why my dogs are going crazy. I'm going to wait on the next segment till they calm down, or my kids get them. I think my son's getting them right now. Thank God. So I will say this, until I see something more concrete, until I see any red flags, I am not concerned at all about Vance's connections to Peter Thiel. Nothing I've seen in his past connections are anything that are actual concrete things I feel like we need to worry about. Marco's Munich speech was the best speech you've ever heard. You mean Vance's Munich speech? It was Vance that spoke in Munich. KT Skyd said, can Rubio be trusted with absolute power if he were to become president? I have my doubts about him and Vance in that regard. They are effective, not completely trustworthy. I just disagree with you. I just do. I'm sorry. I do trust them. I do. My dogs disagree with my Vance versus Rubio. See, there's always people trying to find every angle on me. I get it. I will say this about Vance, folks. All the wrong people are against him, okay? And it's all the establishment Republicans hate him. All the neocons hate him. And yeah, even the Groyper crowd, like Nick Fuentes, Candace Owens types, they've all turned on Vance. Tucker has turned on Vance, not by saying Vance is terrible, but by saying we think Vance has been compromised. Tucker said that. So you get all the wrong people hate Vance now are turning on Vance, and that tells me something. So dogs are barking in agreement. Claudine says, I understand what you're saying. I'll keep my eyes and ears open, as you should. And I will too. And I will tell you guys, here's my pledge to you. Okay. The second I see a red flag from Vance, I will communicate it. I will communicate. I'll call it out. And if you guys have been watching me for 3.5 years, know that is my track record. Okay. A year and a half ago, I was playing Tucker Carlson clips in favor. Now I'll tell you, I think he's one of the most evil people alive. I can change my opinions based on what we're seeing. And so if I see something dangerous from Vance, you better believe I'll report it here, and I'll be the first to start pushing against him. By the way, I'll do the same with Rubio. I know the issues in their past. I know Vance was very anti-Trump, but he was in his early 30s. He wasn't even in politics yet. He turned quickly. He was just a dumb young guy who, when it came to this politics, what Trump was doing. By the way, most people didn't know what Trump was all about then. Rubio was a neocon, full-on neocon. Rubio supported amnesty. Rubio is the one who created the bill so that Trump can't pull out of NATO unilaterally. Rubio did that during Biden's term. Rubio's not perfect. None of these guys are. The question is, where are they now and what are they going to do forward? All right. So I'm just telling you guys, when I see this stuff, I'll call it out. I'll call it out, and I am open to having my opinions changed. Okay. But right now, as of right now, today, this moment, I am 1000% comfortable with Vance and Rubio, either one being president. 1000%. I don't have a single doubt at the moment because I've been following them very closely now for years, and they've won my trust. Check out the massive Nepal. Listen, the flood going on in Nepal right now is horrific. It's so sad. Many people are dying, and I just, I'm not going to cover it because it has nothing to do with my show, but I can't cover everything. My show is focused on American politics and what we're doing right now. I don't shock my dogs like Hassan Piker. That's right. Okay. All right. I think I can finally move on now. Close down. Shisky says, I'll thank you not to use Thomas Massey and Wet Dream in the same sentence again. I can't promise anything like that. I like saying terrible things about terrible people, and sorry, sometimes it might be a little offensive. Okay. You guys crack me up. All right, guys. Let's get into this next segment. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. Thank you for watching. Questions, comments, respectful disagreements, please tag me so I can stop at the end of the segment, catch up. And then if you want to support the show, super chats guaranteed to be read, guaranteed to be answered, and you can check out the membership. Let me be that. Let that be my disclaimer before I go into the next segment. So as I go, feel free to blow up the chat, but I'll check on you in a little bit. Sandwich says Vance has a calm demeanor America needs after the storm. And that's where I'm looking at right now. Yeah, that's what I'm looking at right now. So, okay, let's get into it, shall we? Worldwide, we still have a massive war going on. And no, it's not the war against Iran. It's the war against the globalists. That's the real war Trump's fighting. And yeah, Iran just happens to be a part of it. Where we're at, the Trump administration is pulling off one of the most miraculous wins we've ever seen in a military operation, which is taking down Iran with barely any casualties and doing it in less than a year. In fact, so far, less than half a year, as Iran is currently struggling more and more every day. The economic warfare the Trump administration is waging is working, and it's having massive effects on the City of London globalist system as well. But right now, it's funny how quick narratives change. Just 2 weeks ago, the mainstream media, the podcasters, they were all saying Iran has won. They've won because they have now more leverage than they did before the war. Trump is stuck. It's a quagmire. Oh, how quickly it turns. As Bessent puts out today, Iran's leadership's admitting what the world can now see. The pressure is working. President Masoud Pezeshkian acknowledged Iran's economic shortages, saying the war must come to an end at some point. Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf, Iran's parliamentary speaker, was even more direct. No matter how much military power we have, if people are hungry and we don't have financial circulation, economic growth and domestic production, we will not endure. Under Trump, Treasury will continue to sever every economic lifeline sustaining this regime until Tehran stands alone. And as we knew from yesterday, the Trump administration announced economic D-Day, and they called out every country that would be helping Iran in any way. Shadow banking, weapon movement, supplies, whatever it is, calling out the entire system, the globalist system that used Iran as a proxy. The UK City of London system. This is falling apart and it's working. Now, Iran's leadership is panicking. And guys, think about this. Did Trump and Bessent make this announcement without it already being in place, without them already knowing what the results would be? I don't think so. I was listening to Blaine Holt the other day, former brigadier general. The man understands strategy. And he said, from a strategic perspective, you don't go out there and make that announcement unless you already know where it's headed, unless you already know that everything is it's already happening behind the scenes and you're seeing success. Well, we're now getting that directly from Iran, that it is very, very rough over there. Financial Times, a very left-wing globalist magazine, is now forced to admit how bad it is over there. And this is how you know we're winning, because everybody's admitting it now, even the propagandists. Long queues have formed at gasoline stations around Tehran as the U.S. blockade triggers fuel shortages and a sign of the war's growing strain on the Iranian economy. Oh, fuel shortages in the country that's based on oil? What? Yep, that's a bad sign. Edith Tehran writes, this is a real an effective impact of economic strangulation on weakening the regime. The Islamic Republic is fundamentally a rentier and plunder-based system. IRGC distributes oil rents to buy loyalty among industrial and government managers, banks, media figures, celebrities, and other key economic players. Nearly 50% of Iran's economy is under IRGC control. They basically operate as a cartel, as a mafia, controlling the money and the muscle. That's what the IRGC is, and that's why it's so effective to knock them out economically. These actors are not primarily ideological, they're opportunistic. Now they're the ones feeling threatened, they're losing privileges. Continued support of the regime is turning into a liability. As they abandon the regime, the system's internal cohesion weakens significantly. The bureaucratic collapse of the regime is far more plausible during the next uprising. The setup is continuing, folks. Iran Watcher says the economic rage is boiling across Iran, with furious citizens now physically attacking company execs and regime-linked figures who they blame for corruption, broken promises, and financial ruin. See, folks, Iran is a land of people, just like America. And when things don't go well here, what happens? The people get restless. That even happens in authoritarian regimes. How many times have we seen these places be overthrown? You make the people uncomfortable enough? Well, Iran's got 90 million people. It's a huge country. Way big enough with enough people who, if they get upset enough, they're in big trouble. You cannot control 90 million people if they don't want to be controlled. In the latest incident Angry customers physically attacked a Florida Motors exec after being told they would have to wait several more months for cars some had already been waiting roughly 2 years to receive. Oh yeah, listen, they have an economy like we do. First, they'll go after the direct people they can be upset with. Then they go after the politicians. Customers had paid large sums for vehicles originally promised within months. After years of delay, inflation eating away at the value of their money, and repeated promises of delivery, they were again told there were no cars available and they needed to keep waiting. There's a small snapshot of the enormous rage building across Iran. Years of economic deterioration, austerity, corruption, broken promises, and collapsing purchasing power pushed patience to the breaking point. Skip ahead. Now the Trump administration's economic D-Day campaign is compounding those pressures, seeking to sever the Islamic Republic's remaining financial lifelines. Confrontations bigger than a car company is a glimpse of what happens when decades of corruption and economic failure collide with unprecedented external pressure and a population increasingly unwilling to quietly absorb the losses. The natives are getting restless, folks. It's only a matter of time before they turn this against their government again. There's probably still fear left over, and rightfully so from the last time they did it, and over 40,000 died. But this time, it's much, much weaker. This time, there's going to be a whole lot more people angry. This is how you get real wins. And Trump, on Glenn Beck today, had this to say about where we're at.
Prior to the war, prior to what we're doing with Iran, which I think will be ending fairly soon, you could really say, because the strait is open. We take a lot of ships through the strait now. We're taking them in. The mines are gone. You probably saw that. We put it out yesterday, all the mines. We got rid of the mines. But the strait, it's functioning. It's a functioning strait. Yes, every once in a while there'll be a drone or a rocket or something shot, but it is a very functioning strait. A lot of oil is pouring out, 10 million gallons, 10 million barrels yesterday. But as far as affordability, when I was just prior to saying we have to go down, we have to do this, I met with my people. We just had record stock market. And I said, we're going to have to do a detour. We cannot it's very simple to me. We cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon. That's what it's all about. That's 99.9%. We cannot let them, because they are crazy and they will use it. And we cannot let them have a nuclear weapon.
Trust Trump. That's what we've learned. And I'm telling you, he's being proven right again, as now the strait is completely open. We're getting tons of oil through it, and Iran's losing all leverage. Now, interestingly enough, as this is happening, is right after Economic D-Day is put into effect, what do we find? State Department today reveals Portland Antifa connection to Hamas, Iran's IRGC, in a sweeping terror action. Huh. You mean the same money funneling to Iran is funneling to Antifa? Oh. This is starting to make a whole lot more sense, isn't it, folks? Uncovering the globalist way of doing things, the globalist way of funding things. Of course, they fund all of it. Our enemies of our nation are not all solo actors, let me put it that way. Most of them are all coming from the exact same place. Bessent called them out today. Far left extremists, their fronts and their enablers should be on notice. We will bring the full weight of our economic tools to bear. Political terrorism has no place in our society and will continue to cut the financial lifelines of these groups until they're eliminated. That's in response to the Treasury Department's statement that says, today, Treasury's Office of Foreign Assets Control took action to counter the growing threat posed by violent far-left terrorist groups. Uh-oh. Those are Democrat operatives as well. A lot of ties between the two right before the midterms. Trump is completely taking apart these networks globally. And this is why, for everybody who's like, Trump's not doing anything here, this is why overseas had to be dealt with, because it actually is impacting here. You can't win here at home until we defeat this enemy abroad. Globally networked and politically motivated terrorists, particularly far-left terrorists, are increasingly embracing organized deadly violence in pursuit of their objectives. So what are we doing? Taking their money away. Here's Marco Rubio, who also just came out to add to what they're doing.
You came here. You are here because 2 weeks ago, a 72-year-old woman was burned on over 80% of her body in her own home in Greece, and she died, executed by a firebomb because her daughter dared to stand for office. You are here today because for 5 days this winter, the lights went out in Berlin, the longest blackout in the city since the Second World War, sparked by an attack that left tens of thousands of households without power in the freezing cold and left an 83-year-old woman dead. You are here and you came because a month after that Berlin blackout, a French 23-year-old succumbed to traumatic brain injuries, beaten to death on the streets of Lyon by a group of far-left militant thugs. You are here because your political leaders are being attacked and stabbed and shot in your streets, because your businesses have been bombed, because your railways have been sabotaged, because your police officers have been beaten and burned. You are here because this is real, and it is getting worse, and it can no longer be denied, and it can no longer be ignored, because it is time to crush this evil forever. The simple fact is, none of this that I've just described is new. Far-left political terrorism is not a recent day modern novelty. It is not a fiction manufactured by conservative politicians. For most of the modern era, it was in fact the dominant form of political violence. Every one of our friends here from the nations of the Western Hemisphere, remember?
Whew, time to defeat this evil forever. If you guys think the timing on this is coincidental as Iran is collapsing economically, as we've announced economic D-Day, going after all these networks supporting Iran, and then the day after, we're getting, let's crush the far left terrorist networks, that are connected to Hamas and Iran's RGC. Folks, this is all happening at the same time on purpose. It's all coming together. We're seeing more and more, they're giving us the glimpse of the real war. Those of us paying attention had to figure this out, but they're showing us now more and more how it's all connected, so everybody can start waking up and also see the difference in what's happening as the Trump administration pulls this off. Where's the riots? Where's the protests? Where's the sleeper cell attacks? They're stopping them by cutting their funding and by unleashing the FBI, as Kash Patel's been doing, cleaning it up, deporting. It's all working together. It's all the same war. And we're finding that out more and more. Speaking of that, we also got news today that U.S. officials exposed a major Chinese cyber espionage campaign that compromised numerous federal agencies, including NASA, Federal Reserve, DOJ, Department of Energy, and U.S. Senate. Hackers affiliated with Chinese military and intelligence services used a Chinese tech company to cover their tracks, burrow into target networks, and make their attacks more efficient. Other targets include U.S. military networks, hospitals, power companies, defense contractors, according to the Justice Department. Department tried to stop further damage on Wednesday by seizing 3 internet domains affiliated with the Chinese company. Federal agencies also plan to release advisory on the hackers' techniques. Full impact of the spying effort was not immediately clear. Any counterintelligence assessments of the damage by U.S. officials are likely to remain private due to security and concerns. Interesting. More attacks coming out of China, but not so far linked to the Chinese government. Yeah, China has a deep state too, folks. Believe it or not, they got their hooks in everywhere. And it's no coincidence that they're trying to get our attention and attacking us from all these different angles right now. Get us focused on other things, including Ukraine and Russia. Yesterday, I reported that CIA Director John Ratcliffe went to Moscow, surprisingly, on a massive ship so everybody could see him. Not secret. And then on the same day, Alexander Dugin writes this: if you want us not to escalate, give us Ukraine and we won't. Alexander Dugin, the Putin's brain, although he doesn't actually connect with Putin. He has no influence with Putin at all. But he has a lot of influence with foreign actors, a lot of influence with our podcasters, Glenn Greenwald, Tucker Carlson, Alex Jones, Candace Owens, pushing propaganda all the time. Here's some propaganda for you that's very City of London-ish. Russia is demanding Ukraine. That's what they want you to believe. But it's not coming from Putin, is it? But they are trying to get that war going. Look at this. Chris Coons came out and declared, this is a Democratic senator. Listen to what he had to say about Zelensky.
I would say we are no longer the leaders of the free world. In fact, if anything, Volodymyr Zelensky is the primary national leader who is putting his country's men and women on the line for freedom, and we need to earn our place back as leader of the free world.
Zelensky is now the leader of the free world. Well, that's interesting. You see how they're trying to push this narrative? This is to the Democrats watching them, try to get the people to raise up again for Ukraine, send the propaganda over that Ukraine is now Russia's now demanding Ukraine, while at the same time propping up Ukraine as the bastion of freedom. Pretty crazy stuff. And now we're getting this, a foreign deputy minister and advisor, Andrei Fedorov, saying Moscow could move beyond verbal threats and take semi-military action against UK. Semi-military, that can mean a lot. Black ops, sanctions, all kinds of stuff behind the scenes. And look who it's against, the UK. Oh, City of London, maybe? Fedorov specifically raised cyber attacks and attacks on British factories producing drones for Ukraine, saying they could be carried out by unknown sources. Warning follows PM Andy Burnham's visit to Kiev, where Britain agreed to release classified information on UK components of the Scalp Storm Shadow missile to support production of Ukraine. Russia's accused Britain of becoming directly involved in the war and warning its growing military support for Kiev will have consequences. Russia's calling out the enemy exactly for who they are. As the globalist system, City of London, Brussels, Davos, are all doing everything they can to instigate Russia into more. And many people believe that's the reason our CIA director went over there to calm them down. But Glenn Beck asked Trump about Radcliffe going over there. And here's what Trump had to say.
Can we put something to rest here? Because the speculation is crazy. The CIA director, ours, is in Russia. Rumors are saying Putin is going to test NATO resolve, all the way to speculation that is crazy. He's going to strike England, all the way to this is maybe the U.S. telling them about the Iranian sanctions, saying we're serious about them. Can you tell me why our CIA director flew in the middle of the night to meet with the Russians?
Well, none of the above. He's there on, very sort of semi-routine. I hate to disappoint people. We would like to see the war with Ukraine end. That's a war would have never started, Glenn, if I were president. That's one of the negatives of not having it done that way. I think this way has actually turned out to be bigger in many ways. But you wouldn't have had the war with Ukraine, and you wouldn't have had 25 million people coming into our country like they did, just come in like we were a bunch of fools. It was so sad. But they, 20, and I think the number's higher than 25, frankly. But they came in from prisons, and they were drug dealers, and they were murderers, and everything else, and they poured into our country. You wouldn't have had that. But you would not have had the war in Ukraine. John Ratcliffe is a fantastic guy. He's the head of the CIA, and he is not in there for any of the things that you said. Now, something may come out of it. We're working very hard to get that war ended. And frankly, they both want to see it ended at this point.
Something may come out of it. We want this war ended. I have a feeling Radcliffe went over there. Some people are speculating he grabbed Snowden. Some people are speculating that that Russia had the uranium for him? Why else go over on a cargo ship? I don't know. There's a whole lot of speculation. Maybe all the above are true. Maybe one is true. Maybe none. But I believe it, a part of it as well. There's a whole lot of psyops going on around this, folks. A whole lot of them. One of them is that Putin walked in, saw Ratcliffe, said one word to him, and left. And that was it. Took 5 minutes, even though the plane was there for 9 hours. See, they've been promoting it. Another psyop going around is people saying that Putin screamed at Ratcliffe, demanded, we're going into this more. We're escalating. You can't stop us. That's another psyop going around. It's all designed to scare you. Russia is in a hard place right now because it's pretty clear the globalists want to escalate this war. And Russia is having to show restraint. What I believe more than anything else is Ratcliffe is over there because we're nearing the end. And Ratcliffe, probably one of the things he's saying is we cannot make mistakes here. We have to hold back while Ukraine is building up, NATO is building up. But we can see this through. And maybe, just maybe, Putin had something for him in return. Who knows? But Trump says maybe something will come out of this. I know how Trump, I've been following him for 10 years. I know how he offers stuff up sometimes. Usually when he says maybe, he knows something's coming. Whatever it is, the globalists are on the ropes. This is why they're trying to escalate. Because as Iran is falling, they don't have many other options yet for their great war they need to preserve this system to survive as the powerful globalist one world government they were trying to be. With Iran gone, Venezuela gone, Cuba soon to be gone, it's looking very bleak for the globalists as Trump is putting the squeeze on them in so many ways. So we're going to see more and more attempts to ramp this up. So be prepared for that, but know that it's a cornered dog that gets more rabid. It's a caged animal that gets crazier. That's what we're looking at with the globalists. And it's pretty clear to me that the messaging from the State Department, the messaging from the Trump administration, messaging from Scott Bessent is that this is the end game and the crackdown is here. And all of this heading in just months before, 70 days before the midterm elections tells you the next few months are going to be wild. But I think in all of it, we're going to see massive, massive wins. But we'll have to pay attention and see how it all plays out. All right, guys, please hit that like and subscribe. We're going to go through another segment here soon with a lot of wins coming out of the administration in our country. And then, of course, the Grifter Report. So don't leave yet. Stay tuned. It's coming. But let me get into the chat and catch up with you guys. We have Beef Rockamore with a $5 super chat. Says, friend of mine is pushing a video of Colonel Douglas Macgregor spouting all sorts of establishment crap. Are you familiar with him? Yes, I'm very familiar with Douglas Macgregor. The guy is a total fraud. He lies constantly as if he's some insider who knows all this crazy stuff behind the scenes in military and foreign policy. And it always is scary. It's always about like how much we're up against. And almost all of his predictions do not come true. He is part of that grifter crowd that's meant to blackpill you. That is Douglas Macgregor. That is his whole point in going out there along with enriching himself. So, I would not take anything he says to be taken seriously. But thank you for the super chat, Beef. Appreciate you. Okay, let's see here. Hannah says that video is literally every government building in Iran. The banks are closed, gas stations are closed, hospitals and pharmacies are out of medication. It's bad. Wow. I believe it. So that means it's only a matter of time till the people do something about it. Diane says, my old man told a guy at work that stuff has to be repeated because Americans now have the attention span of horny gnat and must be rewinded. I mean, it's true, but there's also truth that repeating stuff always has been needed to be done for the most influential people. That's why marketing exists, to get stuff in your mind all the time and remind you stuff's out there. It's not to sell you on stuff, at least very rarely. The main reason for marketing is to keep you reminded what your options are so that eventually you choose them. Let's see here. Not many tags. A lot of talk on Pop-Tarts. You guys are funny. The great Pop-Tart argument, thanks to Rubio. That's hilarious. Rose says, Chinese commie party was funded by London, trillions of pounds into it. Evelyn de Rothschild holds seminaries every year there. Xi administration is purging them. That's what I've been seeing as well. So, yeah, fascinating stuff. Laugh as a tell from Trump. May have been. Thank you, Gina. I appreciate you. Chalky says, McGregor pushed the Iraq war the whole time, was saying they had WMDs, and now he's against Iran. They don't have WMDs. He's a goon. He is a total goon. TL says, I don't think the counter tariffs will affect us much. I also don't think we need a deal or trade with Canada. What's your opinion? I mean, a deal is good because they do have some things that work, you know, for us. I mean, I like maple syrup. I know that's like mostly funny, but truth is we get a lot of our milk from Canada. So, I mean, there's benefits to having deals with them, but do we need them? No, we don't need them. It just makes things easier for us if we do have them. So, will the reverse tariffs, their tariffs against us, hurt us that much? Overall, no. But you know, it could make some things a little more uncomfortable. Beatrice with a $5 super chat says, like this video, please. Curious how many people actually agree with us here. Thank you. Thank you, Beatrice. I appreciate that. Yeah, please hit the like and subscribe, guys. Thank you for supporting the channel. Dr. Doom Guy with a $10 super chat, but did not leave question or comment. So Doom, I'm just going to say thank you to you. And if you have anything else, please let me know. But thank you for supporting the channel. Again, I am a viewer, listener supported channel. So every little bit counts, and every little bit I'm very grateful for. Thank you. Do I think we'll get Alberta to join us in October? I think Alberta has a chance of going independent, but I don't think they're going to join America. If they do, it'll be down the road, maybe a few more years. Maybe we wouldn't throw milk away if we didn't buy Canada dairy. Maybe. Crown Royal, yeah. May have an issue with toilet paper again. I'd probably try to push that, right? Everything I said is false about the Russian church. What did I say about the Russian church? I don't remember talking about the Russian church at all. Canada has been pain in our butt recently. They've just been taking advantage of us for a long time. They're, you know, Canada has been for a long time the little brother who just tags along, lets his big brother make the money, do the fighting, lead the way, drive, make all the friends, and the little brother just sits there just enjoying it all and being obnoxious, complaining when it doesn't go his way, and the big brother just keeps letting him go along. That was us for a long time, but no longer. Again, I brought a blue-haired nose ring home. What are you doing? You can't date her. She's gross. Bro, she's been with half the school already. Oh, it's okay in Texas. Canada had 400% tariffs on us for our automobiles. They also gave us cheap Chinese steel, and so was their own. Yeah, they did. This is a true story. They get 4 million gallons of milk from us. Really? I didn't know they got that much. That's crazy. That's nuts. Beretta says Alberta will never join America. They vote for independence. Overnight, they become the 7th wealthiest nation. Why inherit our mess? 7th wealthiest nation in the world? No. There's no way Alberta is going to be the 7th wealthiest nation in the world. Maybe with resources, but not in actual GDP. There's no way. I don't think there's any way. You got me. Alberta GDP. So Alberta's GDP is equivalent to 260 billion American dollars. So let's see. Top GDP countries. I mean, Alberta's not going to be anywhere close to this list. Sorry. I mean, if their GDP is 260 billion, they're not even close to the top 10. But they do have a lot of resources. Yeah. Chiosap, $2 super chat says, is Piker and Code Pink doing a humanitarian trip to Iran? I'm sure it's coming, right? No, they would never go somewhere where they would actually risk their own lives. They would only go to places that will set them up cush. 39th sounds more correct, yeah. Did I hear Trump's reaction to Glenn about deregulating beef? Yes. So, Trump is talking, or did talk to Glenn about deregulating beef. So along with this beef push, they are Trump, to get cheaper beef in for the next 3 months. Trump is also making it easier for our ranchers to grow the herd. So, I mean, and he's just going to keep doing that. And when he says to Glenn, he's going to deregulate the beef, you know what he means? He's going to go after the cartels running the beef, so. All right, guys, let's move on. Lot more to get to here. So let's talk about some of the things that's going on right now. All right. What's that? Took out Piker with a meme? What meme is that? Sandwich says, gotta admit, politics is going to be boring without Trump. I disagree with you. I understand that for a lot of people it will be more boring, but it definitely won't be the same. But listen, I'm somebody who's been following politics like closely since 2000. I think politics is fascinating. Trump has made it more fun, but politics has always been interesting. And this movement's nowhere close to over. And by the way, even once Trump's gone from being president, he's still going to be the power broker in the Republican Party. He's still going to be a constant point of attention. He's going to be kingmaker. There's just no way Trump's going away. So we don't have to wait. And then the day he passes away in 20 years, who knows how long he'll live. I mean, the guy he beats the odds on everything. He might live 40 years, but that'll be the day he's out of politics. So I'm not too worried about what politics will be like after. I think it'll still be very fascinating. I mean, how many millions of people listened to Rush Limbaugh in the 90s and 2000s, way before Trump? There's plenty to talk about in politics. Rush had millions of listeners. So we got to break the beef industry. I agree. All right, let's get into it. So another big loss for the nothing's happening crowd as Trump continues to pile up wins in several areas. And yesterday, on the deportation front, the immigration front, where people have been criticizing them as no more mass deportations despite records, not fulfilling his promises despite cleaning up immigration the most since the 50s. We got another big splash in the news yesterday as it was declared by the Trump administration that they are pausing visa appointments for applicants worldwide. So as of right now, you want to get a visa in the U.S., you're on hold. Doesn't matter where you're from. The Trump administration continues to tighten the immigration in our country, and this is something we voted for. It's a big deal. What's also a big deal is deportations continue to set records. In July, ICE arrests are up to nearly 50,000. Highest monthly total of President Trump's second term. That also makes it the highest monthly total in modern history. Maybe the highest total of a month ever. It's way up there. See, most deportations aren't happening. Secretary Mullins is for amnesty. Really? Because his operation is breaking records month after month after month. In fact, I believe this is the third month in a row we've set new records. It just keeps going up, folks. As the courts keep ruling in favor of the Trump administration, what they're doing, as the funding's coming in, the training's gone up, it is getting better every month. We're getting what we voted for. It's looking good. Now, one of the big concerns I constantly get on my show is this whole push by, Islam in America. The Sharia law pushes. We've seen a lot of this in Texas and Dearborn, Michigan. Trump today was on Glenn Beck and was asked about Sharia law, and this should make a lot of you feel a lot better knowing that Trump is aware of what's going on and has a plan for it.
Number one, on Sharia law, I would absolutely say that's not this country. There was no Sharia law, and you do have pockets of it, as you know. I would say no, and you go to London, you go to Paris, it's almost like a second way of life. It's ridiculous. Yeah. And I would absolutely be on your side on that, on a lot of other people's side too, because you and I have people that I think we're more based on common sense than we are on ideology. It's all about good politics is all about common sense anyway. But I would absolutely prohibit the Sharia law thing, and it is happening in this country a little bit. And when we see it, we take it out. And you have to take it out. You have one system. We have a great system. Sometimes it's very frustrating, but it's the best there is that I can see. Number one on Sharia law, I would have.
There you go. He's aware of it. And I have a feeling that what Trump's watching right now is the spread of these things very carefully. As of right now, it's fairly localized. These things haven't spread out, and the deportations and the limited immigration is slowing it down exponentially. But you got to be aware of it. And thankfully, we know that President Trump is. And so that's one of the things I get a lot. People are very concerned about. But the point is that President Trump is paying attention to this. He's not immune to it. And the fact that he would come out and say this when many politicians wouldn't dare to because we might lose a few votes, well, that tells you exactly where Trump is at. So that's a win. Another wins is how the immigration is impacting our economy. We're getting more and more positive numbers as a result of these deportations. Listen to this.
The Council of Economic Advisors has a report that says if you just look at where immigration has been more restricted or deportations have gone higher, rents have gone even farther down. So rent relief is a real thing. Cost of housing relief is a real thing, and this administration is making progress on that. It's a huge part of people's budgets. If you look at, I want to just mention one thing, which is that we did have inflation data come in. That matters for Americans. Core PCE over the last 3 months is what I like to look at, is 3% annualized. The 3 months before that, 3.9% annualized. So the thing that the Fed likes to look at, core PCE growth, is coming down. The Council of Economic Advisors.
It is. Rents are coming down in all these areas. It's starting to happen. Inflation is lowering, a lot of it because of housing prices. Just wait till the energy prices start going back down as Iran finishes up. It's coming. Today we got economic numbers. Personal income, double expectations up month over month. That's good. Wages are growing, and the American people are feeling it as they spent more. Personal spending, double expectations as well. This is good news. The American public is starting to feel their income's going up. And also month over month, the income outpaced inflation as well. This stuff's happening, folks. It is. The policies are starting to work, and it's only going to pick up. Here's a quick breakdown.
I want to give you the income and the spending numbers, Lou, because we got spending up 0.2%, income up 0.4%. Both of those numbers are better than expected.
Yeah,
that's the consumer.
The resiliency
that's the
of the consumer is something. I mean, their death has been greatly exaggerated. You never win betting against the U.S. consumer.
He's absolutely right on that. And while this is happening, Bessent been making moves that have been strongly criticized with the yen, buying up the yen, etc., intervening on bonds. And guess what? Oh, the bonds are now sliding. 10-year falls 6 basis points to 4.64%. That means the real interest rates are sliding. Oh, it's working. Imagine that. It's almost like the Trump administration is smarter than anybody else when it comes to the economy. It continues to happen. As that's continuing, oil prices now with Iran close to the cleanup phase, collapsing. Broke under $80 a barrel today for the first time in over 2 weeks. It's trending in the right direction. Now wait till we get closer to the midterms towards the end of the year. This is going to fall and fall and fall. And as soon as Iran is fully cleaned up, we're going to see oil prices way down. We're going to see $60 a barrel before too long, maybe even $50, the way things are going. That whole oil has to stay at $60 a barrel for them to be profitable. That's actually changing. I played this a week ago where the oil man in Texas, landman, came out and said, it's getting cheaper than ever for us to drill. New innovations that the administration is allowing us to do. Guess what happens when you deregulate? Things get cheaper. As things get cheaper, that includes oil. That includes some of the richest industries in the world using tech, using innovation to get more oil out of the ground, making it cheaper for everybody. We are now the #1 exporter of oil. It's going to continue flowing. This is going to keep plummeting. In the last couple months, inflation has been mostly driven by energy prices, which, yes, affect food prices. And yeah, also portfolio prices. The stock market going up is actually impacting the way we read inflation, which is pretty stupid if you think about it, because that's not actual new money hitting the system, which is what real inflation should be, which is how Kevin Warsh, our new Fed chair, is measuring inflation. Real inflation is close to zero right now, folks. Prices may be up, but that's markets working. That's not actual inflation, which means they can go down just as quickly as they went up. And that's what we'll be seeing here going on. The Trump administration continues to win. Another area it's continuing to win is in Maha. See, one of the big psyops going around was that Trump pushed RFK Jr. to the side and cut off our health, the improvement of our health system, pushed RFK Jr. to the side. The opposite is true. RFK Jr. is flying and he's gaining momentum now as they've cleaned up the office of HHS more and more, as a lot of these regulations have been pushed through, as he's staffed it up, and as regulators are starting to come onto his side due to pressure from the people in the Trump administration. And we're starting to turn our focus on some of the big things people have been really hoping get done. Listen to this.
Put a larger investment into regenerative farming than any president in history. He had 5 of the top regenerative farmers in the country come to his office, and we talked about how do we transition off of glyphosate and other chemicals toward a more sustainable kind of agriculture.
Remember when everybody's freaking out? Trump, they betrayed us. They protected glyphosate. No, they didn't. They temporarily made it so that we could use the glyphosate during a transition. See, those of us who trusted Trump said there's no way this is going to last forever. And now RFK Jr. is telling us what it's really all about. The transition to regenerative farming is happening right now. The biggest push in American history from the government top down into regenerative farming to get these farms away from glyphosate, one of the biggest health issues we have, into which will fix our food supply significantly and also fix our soil issues. So you can't do everything all at once. There's too many moving parts. The bad guys are too embedded. It's a process. Everything is a process. This is starting to play out. And he had a little bit more to say on this as well.
The farmers themselves are really interested in this. They're locked in a system where their soil is being degraded by pesticides. The microbiomes are being destroyed, which means the soil can't absorb water, which means there's runoff of the soil. And now agronomists estimate that we only have 30 to 50 harvests left. The soil is all gone. But farmers know that. They're having trouble selling their produce abroad because many of the European countries won't take pesticide-treated crops. The inputs for them are enormous and are sinking them. And there's health problems. Iowa now has the highest cancer rate in the world and the fastest growing cancer rate in the world. Kentucky has the second highest. These are agricultural communities that are, understand that there are costs to intensive pesticide use, and they want to transition off it. And when we did the MAHA report, we spoke to over 100 farmers and farm organizations, and all of them were interested in how do we get an off-ramp off of this system to a more sustainable system.
Off-ramp off of our system to more sustainable system. They are trying to fix long-term problems. This is stuff most politicians wouldn't dare touch. They'd want to keep it to, see what we can do here. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, and nobody's talking about, we have RFK Jr. and his team out there educating farmers, helping them to figure out the way to transition off glyphosate. This will be huge. If we can recreate our farming system and direct it into a more sustainable fashion. Regenerative farming is tough, especially at large scale, but it is doable over time. It will take time. It will take resources, but we are going to try. And that's important because for those who don't know, our soil is in a bad place because we don't give it time to rest. We don't give it time to absorb nutrients. We just keep sucking it dry. But thank God we actually have people working on this. And RFK Jr., man, he's not just stopping at vaccines. He's not just stopping at big pharma and SSRIs and you name it. He's trying to do every little thing that's impacting the American people. This is one of the biggest things happening. And by the way, suburban moms out there who tend to lean left but are very health conscious, you better wake up, because if you vote for the Democrats, they're going to kick this man out and you're going to lose everything you've ever wanted to happen in the health area. The only way MAHA continues is if Trump continues, if MAGA continues, because the Democrats will sell you out to the institutions all over again, just like they have at every freaking opportunity they've ever had. You want your kids to have a healthier life? You want better food choices, less cancer, less toxins. You want all that? You have to vote MAGA. Sorry you don't like Trump. Grow up. Vote what's best for you, not just based on your feelings. And the reason I'm picking on suburban moms is because they are the number one group who went to MAHA voting for RFK joining Trump and are the most likely to go to the Democrats in the midterms. Wake up. You have one chance at this, because if RFK Jr. can't pull this off, if Trump doesn't continue to push this forward with RFK Jr. and into the next administration too, everything you voted for is screwed and you'll never get another chance at this. Not in your lifetime. Not saying it'll never happen, but it'll get much, 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 much worse before we get another chance. So remember that when you're voting this fall and going ahead. Now, of course, they're trying to continue lying about what we're doing, as this week it came out that there were 2 deaths from measles. 2 deaths from measles to attack RFK Jr. as being anti-vax. The problem is those 2 deaths from measles were an 87 and 89-year-old man. So yeah, when I don't know who needs to know this, but when you're old and you get sick, you can die. Yeah. Sorry. It's a fact. But this is not little kids who weren't vaccinated dying of measles. But that's what they pushed. That's the narrative they're pushing because they're going to do everything they can to get you to turn against what's being accomplished right now. And again, let's go to the economy. That includes data centers. Look at this chart right here. Do data centers or Democrats make electricity more expensive? Home electricity price, pop weighted data center capacity per resident is negatively correlated, negative 0.37. Democrat control of state government is positively correlated, 0.7. In other words, Democrats make energy more expensive. Data centers make it cheaper. Uh-oh. Another psyop popped. Another bubble popped. Fake narrative popped. This is all the time, folks. 90%, if not more, of the narratives pushed at you by your algorithms, by the mainstream media, yes, by even podcasters, is lies. And you have to actually go to the data to find the truth. The Trump administration, what they're doing, as I've just spent the last several minutes showing you guys, is working, and they are following it up. Economy is improving. Energy is starting to decrease. Deportations are at all-time highs. It's all coming together. Maha is doing amazing things, but they don't want you to see it because they want you to think nothing's happening. Truth that couldn't be further from the truth. And here, Glenn Beck getting a lot of play today, but it's because he's had some good stuff to say. Here's Glenn just reminding us where we were at before Trump.
It's easy to forget where we were just 2 years ago. So before we get to the president, let me just recap what has happened this week. Monday, Supreme Court cleared the way for the president's mail-in ballot order to take effect before the midterms 6-3. Homeland Security can build a federal citizenship list and send it to the states, while the Attorney General can prioritize the prosecutions of officials who give ballots to ineligible voters. Also, the State Department. The State Department is moving to revoke the tourist and business visas of up to 200,000 people who came as visitors and then filed for asylum, the largest action in American history. In 14 days, beautiful. This month, in 14 days, ICE arrested almost 1,500 people in Virginia and Maryland alone, including 400 with convictions and pending charges for crimes from sexual battery, kidnapping, robbery, attempted murder, rape, MS-13 members. One of the most successful operations ever.
Preach it, Glenn.
Also, this week we find out State Department is removing moving to revoke the tourist and business visas of up to 200,000 people who came as visitors. Let's see. Meanwhile, we find out ICE arrests surged nearly 50,000 in July, highest monthly total. Homeland Security also proposed a $103,000 fee on capped H-1B visa petitions. And then the economic news. This one's huge. Philadelphia Fed's manufacturing survey showed American factories having the strongest current conditions in more than 5 years. But more striking, the manufacturers, their expectations for the future surged to the highest level since the beginning of the Reagan boom in 1983, with the biggest one jump ever recorded.
Boom, baby.
In other words, American manufacturing isn't surviving. It may be on the verge of a major... We're going to build things in America again, and nobody thought that was possible, with the exception of our guest. That's all in 1 week. One. And the man responsible is President Donald J. Trump.
Yep. Don't forget it. Where we came from 2 years ago, before Trump. Don't forget how bad it was. Listen, we have a midterms coming up. We have massive psyops being perpetrated on us at every angle, over and over again. Whether it's data centers, whether it's how Maha is failing, whether it's the economy is not better, whether it's $20 burritos, whatever it is, Iran is winning. All this nonsense, they are flooding you with it as they want you to forget how bad things were. See, when a patient is dying, before you can heal them, you have to stabilize them. Well, the first year of the Trump administration was stabilizing a dying country. The improvement comes later. If I'm bleeding out, you got to stop the bleeding first. And then I get onto the road of healing. That's what we had to do with our nation. Trump stopped the bleeding, and now we're healing. Healing sometimes is a slow process until you start hitting progression levels and starting moving forward. The healing is continuing to accelerate. Things are getting better. This was stopping the bleeding. This is stopping the bleeding. This is healing. Heading in the right direction, and it's only going to continue. Things are getting better. Doesn't matter what I say, though, you got to believe it. And that's why they throw the psyops after us over and over again. But folks, I've been following politics closely for 25 years. I'll tell you right now, today, more has happened positively for our country since the Trump administration came in on January 20th, 2025, than in any 18-month stretch in American history. That's not being hyperbolic. The most effective, fast-moving 18 months in American history from one political administration, from one president. It's happening. We're winning. We're going to keep winning. The question is, are we going to fight to keep it going? We have a midterms coming up. We need to vote red. Make sure we keep this momentum going with better candidates than we had in the last elections. It's happening. Let's keep it going. 28, 30, 32. Once we hit our stride, after 30, it gets easy after the new census. We'll have such a structural advantage thanks to demographics. Let's fight hard to get to that point. And then we can have a country that's better than any of us even dared dream of a few years ago. That's the direction we're heading in. And folks, the wins are everywhere, but some of these wins need a lot more time to fully manifest. Let's give it to them, because we are in the best, most amazing, miraculous turnaround in American history. And we're not done yet. Folks, if you enjoyed this segment, please hit that like and subscribe. Thank you guys for watching. We got the Grifter Report next. But first, I'm going to catch up with you guys in the chat. Saw a couple super chats come in, so let me get to that. Freenez, $5 super chat, says, Islamo-Marxism freaks me out. I hope the exposure coupled with Trump's awareness brings back the law banning on Muslims running for elected office. That would have to be a state law. The Constitution would never allow, that would be struck down by the Supreme Court, banning somebody for their religious beliefs from running from office. So I'll just let you know that right now. I understand the fear, but the truth is, if we do our job as Americans, as constitutional Americans, common sense Americans, and especially with traditional Christian values, we'll never have to worry about Islamic Sharia law type stuff ever spreading in America, ever. But so if we stay on offense, we're never going to have to play defense on that. Let me just put it that way. But I understand the fear because they're really pushing it on us hard. Chiosap says, as illegals get deported, get deported, supply and demand improves. Yeah. Less goods, less renting homes, less buying, basically free homes the Biden administration was giving them. All that's true. Thank you, Chiosap. Molly Cruel, the $5 super chat, says there's no way gas prices will come down significantly before September 21st. They'll wait for the end of summer, even with the oil coming down. Okay. So September 21st is what, 3.5 weeks away? Why does it have to be down significantly by September 21st? Because of summer? Technically, I understand on the seasonal aspect, but you got the date wrong, because summer to the consumer is not summer by season. It's after Labor Day. After Labor Day, travel slows down and gas prices will go down. Just wait. So we have that on top of Iran cleaning up. And yes, gas prices should be significantly lower by October. And KTYSD with a $2 super chat. Thank you, KT, for your support of this channel. No question or comments, though, but that's okay. Says, RFK Jr. is who I trust wholeheartedly to do right by America, but he's not as effective as Rubio Vance. Well, I'll tell you, he's not as good a politician But behind the scenes, he's extremely effective. And I think if the Republican Party was behind him, he would be a formidable opponent. But it would be tough. I agree with you. He's not he's very well spoken, but his voice does throw people off. So. Okay, there was a lot of chats in that segment. So let me see what I can get to. Diane says, here in Southwest Ohio, everyone I speak to says they are America First, voting red down the ballot in November. Amen. Hallelujah. That's excellent. I think there's a lot of that going on. I think there's a lot of it going on and they don't want you to know it. Let's see. Tim Curry passed away. I know. It kind of sucks. I like Tim Curry. Xobo says 30 million undocumented, unvaxxed immigrants have derailed vaccine immunity threshold. We're seeing increased adverse events because we have increased detection techniques and tech. You know, I understand that. I don't necessarily buy it. I understand the whole threshold argument, all that, but a lot of that's junk science. Did a lot of unvaxxed illegals come over? Yeah. But you know, the truth is vaccine, like a lot of the stuff vaccines treat for was already being cleaned up by just better health practices and cleaning and, you know, using soap on your hands and better water, all that. And so vaccines have really not been as effective as they've told us. And, you know, you have to go into a lot of research for this, but it's true. Bill Button says, JD Vance, not his real name. His last name is really Bowman. Well, you can actually change your name. So it is his real name. It's legally his real name because it had to be for running in the election. And I've researched JD Vance, all his names, his dad's name, his mom's name, all the ways he's been named over the years. Also, he was raised in a very broken household. So his name was changed a couple times by that. Listen, like people asking like I didn't investigate JD because his name isn't like exactly what it was when he was born. That's just crazy. I'm sorry. I've seen it all. So I understand, Bill Button, you're trying to get me to look into stuff more, but I've already looked into all that. So I've found nothing of concern, and I literally mean nothing. The only thing about JD that's concerning is, he knew people. I'm sorry, but they play that game with Trump. It just doesn't work. It's a psyop. It's to get you to not trust anybody because guess what? Once you're famous, once you're in politics, you have connections to bad people because you've always met or ran into somebody bad at every point. So yeah, Thiel gave money to his campaign, blah, blah, blah. He worked at Thiel's company. That doesn't mean he's controlled by it. I'm just so done with this argument. Am I related to VGG? Who's VGG? I don't even know who that is. Thanks, Diane. I look forward to being here every day. Chipotle doesn't even have a $20 burrito. I mean, if you got guac, so if I got a steak burrito at Chipotle and I got guac and I got double meat and let's see, I'd still be probably around 16, 17 at that point. Maybe I got double guac. It's hard to get to $20 burrito at Chipotle. The only way is to DoorDash it. I mean, the $20 burrito thing is so stupid. Like the only place that has $20 burritos are like fancy restaurants. So maybe it's a problem for Matt Walsh at his fancy restaurants with his millions of dollars. Like, oh my God, this burrito that used to be 18 is now 20. I can barely afford it. Okay, schmoozy, walking around with the pinky in your mouth, you know? I mean, come on. Ridiculous. You're welcome, Xobo. Beatrice says, I changed my name to remove myself from biological father, nothing diabolical. I mean, people change their name all the time. Threads, if President Trump has been commander-in-chief, 45 through 47, why was the border left open to bring attention? I mean, you know, I don't necessarily believe Trump was commander-in-chief the whole time, or at least not in... So technically the argument is that if he was commander-in-chief, it meant he was in charge of the military still to hold off the worst stuff, but he wasn't in charge of our politics. And so in that case, the border was open. It's kind of complicated. The whole Trump has been a commander-in-chief thing this whole time. It's interesting. I'm open to it, but I don't completely buy it. Make your burrito at home. $20 makes it 4 foot long. Right? I can make burritos and tacos for my whole family of 8. And depending on what ingredients I use, it would only cost $20 to $25 for a dinner for 8 people. It's just so crazy, these lies they push. And I'm not saying food's cheaper than it was 10 years ago. Okay, that's dumb. Or even 5 years ago. But I am saying that people, like, if you're complaining about food and then your argument is that burritos are $20, obviously it's not you guys, but this was the big psyop being pushed. Well, if that's the argument, then that's so stupid and insane. It makes the whole argument not even valid. KTS says double steak gets you $20 burrito Chipotle. Yeah, well, it depends on where you live, but yeah, maybe in certain places. They made it sound though like anybody just getting a regular burrito pays $20. So crazy. Can I do a whole dedicated show reacting to Democrats freaking out about midterm results? Well, I mean, for those who don't know, because you weren't here with my last time, the election night, I'm going to stream the whole election. Okay. I'll be on probably around 6 or 7 Eastern time, right when election results are getting ready to come in. And I'm going to stay here all night until we get every result we can possibly get for the night. In 2024 for Trump, I started my stream around 7:30, and I was on until 3 a.m., 7 hours straight. It was fun, had lots of guests, obviously lots of talking, but I will be with you guys for the entire night. And then, of course, afterwards on other shows, I'll cover liberal reactions. So you don't have to worry about that. Food prices are so high, the other my caviar. Lisa Couture, the $10 super chat says, thank you. I love your show and listen daily. I agree with people as I am led. I pray people wake up the grifters. I tell people they're not talking about City of London. I don't really trust them. I mean, yeah. And if they don't have the exact word City of London, at least say the globalists, at least understand that there's a globalist system going on at Davos, the deep state. That's even if you haven't fully come down to its actual City of London like connection, that's fine. But at least acknowledge like who we're actually fighting. So, and I agree with you on that. At this point, there's no reason to not know it. So thank you, Lisa. I really appreciate you. I've always appreciated your comments. Thank you for being a part of this community. You are awesome, and I'm very blessed by your giving. Thank you so much. Well, I stream the Republican convention. So I want to. Here's the thing. That is the week my mother-in-law planned to take a beach vacation and last spring rented a beach house for me and my family. So I will be at the beach during this convention, but don't worry. I am taking my streaming equipment. I will not be on the full time because of that, but I will be doing some live shows because it's too important not to. So I'll definitely have coverage, but it won't be full time for the stream. Sorry, for the convention, I should say. But I'll be here. Violence says I can make quesadillas for like $4.50 a serving, and that's using dark meat chicken, fresh onion, side order guac. There you go. Yeah, homemade guac is awesome. All right. I'm bringing my mic this time, Sean. Don't worry. I learned my lesson the hard way, okay? You guys don't understand how much work I had to put into clipping my stuff because of that stupid mic I used at the lake. That stupid mic, screwed up my sound so bad. Even when I fixed it, I had to run my clips through audio filters just to get them halfway decent. It created for me like 3 times the amount of work when I was actually like clipping my lives. So yeah, I'm definitely bringing my mic this time. Don't worry. It's happening. No, guac's easy and it's great. Starchild says, I don't like that the president VP will be in Dallas, close to the anniversary of CK's death in 9/11. I hear you, but I also, to that, I want to say like what Trump is so awesome at is he doesn't he doesn't run away from stuff. There's no superstition. If he sees a challenge, he runs towards it. And I respect that. I think that's strength, you know? Sasha says, we need more conservatives involved in working elections. In my area, Dems have more workers. It just depends where you're at, right? It's always going to depend where you're at. Threads, yeah, I covered that Vance story the other day. It was crazy. Jesse Michaels was on Rogan. Huh, I might listen to that. Sandwich says, I wonder if Alan Lichtman made a midterm prediction. No, because his model is only for presidents. So we won't hear from him for the midterms much. I mean, he'll try to come back in some way to be important, but he was so destroyed by 2024. I don't think Alan Lichtman's ever going to have a platform again. All right. TDS says, I feel an uncontrollable need to call out any YouTuber blackpilling. It's pissing me off. At the very least, can't they acknowledge if Democrats regain control, they were screwed? Right? It's so dumb to be blackpilling over Trump. I agree. Okay. Let's get to it, shall we? You guys ready for a Grifter Report? We're going to have some fun on this one. Just letting you guys know. The grifters haven't been up to anything too crazy. There's no major coordination. So we're just going to go through a few of their posts and have some laughs and how ridiculous these people are. Because I like doing it. No other reason. No other reason than I like sharing the ridiculous stuff I see. So that's what we're going to do. So in today's Grifter Report, we are covering the ridiculousness of these people. The stupid things they say and do because it's fun. And we're going to start with Ami, who I often start with these days because his impersonations are so good. But here's Ami talking about doing Patrick Bet-David, talking about the debate with Andrew Wilson and Candace Owens.
So, Patrick, what's your take on the debate?
Well, the way I see it, you had Andrew there, you had Candace there. They were both,
just like
they were sitting in chairs, having a conversation. They're having a debate. And, Candace made some points and Andrew made some points. And they both were, talking back and forth. And I thought that, there was a microphone in front of both of them. They were, they talked into the microphone. Each of them made points into their microphones. And all of it was recorded, You had audio, you had the producers in the back, they had earpieces for, the prompts, and the audio was recorded. And what was going on, throughout the conversation, what was happening was, you had a lot of people online listening, and I was sitting there too, and I was watching them. And people were listening to the conversation, and they heard the points that Candace made, and they heard the points that Andrew made. And people had different opinions about.
It's so milquetoast. It won't take a side. It won't bring up anything. This is just like PBD. Just says the most obvious stuff all the time. This is so great.
They were going back and forth. And the audio, that they were talking into the mics went into a couple of machines, and it was recording that audio and broadcasting it out to the internet. And, people were listening, they were watching. Some people were doing both, listening and watching. And I think at the end of it, you had a couple hours gone by, and they had a conversation about, the Charlie Kirk and the assassination, and, they talked about the case and some other things. And that's what happened.
Wow. I never thought about it that way.
Yeah. You want shoes?
You want shoes? You know why Ami is so brilliant? Ami, if you ever watch me, by the way, bro, big fan. What makes him so brilliant is not only does he get their voices, their mannerisms, he totally captures the essence of everybody he mocks. He does these impressions of. PBD, like him or not, he is the most milquetoast, vanilla takes you've ever heard on anything. It is always just so down the line because PBD is a businessman. I'm not even necessarily calling PBD a grifter. He may or may not be. That's not my point here. The point is that he just had one of the most explosive debates in internet history, viewed by millions. And if asked about it, it would be this. He doesn't want to offend anybody because God forbid that would hurt his viewership or his businesses. That's exactly who PBD is. And it's actually hilarious. So well done there. And speaking of Candace, it keeps getting worse for her. And Salty Cracker shared this, and this is a clip from the defense's filings And here's Tyler Robinson's defense. He says it calls Candace crazy. Well, in the actual filings, it says, now, in the state's opposition to our motion, there's a lot of information. I'll try not to be sarcastic, but I think it's kind of noise about the intense public interest in this case. Where do you think that's coming from? There's a reference to, unstable people coming to the courthouse, to conspiracy theorists saying things online. We're all aware of that. I mean, I don't know what the court has said. It's none of my business. I've received some wacky phone calls and emails, people telling me what they think happened here. It's noise. We're not litigating this case in the press. We're not talking to crazies. That's all on the outside. That's amazing, folks. That's amazing. We all know who they're talking about. This is in Tyler Robinson's defense team. The team that Candace is supposedly trying to help by providing all this information on how Tyler Robinson wasn't behind it. And they are calling her crazy. I love this timeline. It is really coming together so beautifully. Just like this wonderful cartoon giving us a great example of how Candace gets to the truth.
Now it's time to find out who you really are.
It's Old Man Smithers. He was the one haunting the amusement park.
Not so fast. There is no evidence.
It's Candace Owens. What do you mean there is no evidence? We tied him up and unmasked him.
But there is no high-definition video of him putting on that costume. I think this was a setup. We need to bring in Erica Kirk for questioning.
Who is Erica Kirk?
She's a patsy of Israel. That's probably who is behind this all.
Oh no, not Israel.
Israel? You mean that tiny country in the Middle East full of Jews? What would they care about an amusement park?
The owner of the amusement park was probably about to condemn Israel's genocide, and they wanted to put a stop to it.
Genocide? This is just a bunch of anti-Semitic nonsense, and you're just wasting our time.
Wow, you really care about this, Fred. I thought you were a member of the Aryan Brotherhood.
Why does everyone always assume that?
Your theories don't make any sense, Candace. No Scooby snack for you.
Blonde hair,
I
blue
would
eyes.
never touch that goy slop. Don't worry, Old Man Smithers. I'll clear your name and get you freed.
But it's true. I was haunting this amusement park to shut it down so I could buy the land. And I would have gotten away with it if it weren't for these meddling...
Israel. Yes, Israel is always meddling in things, but we'll stop them.
So is anyone going to explain how that dog can talk?
That's another good question for Israel.
Oh my God. Fred being called Aryan is one of the funniest things I've heard in a while. This is so perfect. These things are unbelievable. Thank you, AI. Makes this kind of stuff possible. This is exactly what we want to see, folks. These people, this is what they deserve. This is what they deserve. And Milk Bar TV put it together, just another collaboration, collage of Candace's amazing pronunciations from the smartest investigative reporter on the internet. Here's, this made me laugh as well.
That truth is kind of, what actually has happened, the events of our world, is obviously, as the expression goes, way stranger in fiction. Oh, I know. I'll fix two birds with one stone. Okay, really thought that what you were saying seemed so far outstretched. But the good news is that she is now unmurkying the water. But the thing that they are forgetting is perception is 9/10 of the law, right? Look, the short and the thick of it is, that's the short and the thick of it. That's the long and the thick of it. I think it's really important to now stake a horse in this race, making lesbian jokes. I don't, swing for the next team and wouldn't be on the brink of my seat. And the judge said, oh, no, it's all good. Par for the courses. Secrets can sometimes make strange bedfellows. And it's hard to put that genie back in the Bible. the elite of the Mormon culture, the cream of the pie, because they are the cream of the crop of the Mormon pie, the Daily Wire, whatever. I'm over that. I could care less. Literally, Barry Weiss would crawl in a hole and die. I could care less. And don't even get me started on the Putin puppet stuff. I could care less that they could care less about what's in the Bible. Take it. Take his money. I could care less, obviously. They would not extradite him because the statute of limitations had expired. Oh, lucky for Olivia Duhamel, the statute of limitations had already expired. That, like, she had discovered the statute of limitations was not up. The statute of limitations had passed last minute, the umpteenth hour. It got canceled in the umpteenth hour. So the umpteenth hour, they decided to cancel her appearance. That it had been made in the umpteenth hour. I will leave no stone left unturned. Who wouldn't want to have
that was not too
every
bad.
stone unturned? Well,
I'll be fair. That was not too bad.
Sure as hex. Everything is so fake, and that is how it has felt from start to finish here. These are the people who you need to stay away with.
I don't know if, it's like if she's got a speech impediment or what, but some of these things are just dumb. Listen, when you are trusting somebody with some of the craziest information, deep dive analysis possible, you can't have somebody who just screws up every detail of their speech. Every single one of them, every saying. It's like this woman has never lived a regular life just trying to pretend to be one of us. It is so crazy. So crazy. I honestly think Candace isn't that smart. I think she's clever, but she's not that smart. She likes to make everybody think she's smart. But you can see it. You can see it in real time. It's absolutely hilarious. I told you. We're laughing. We're laughing at these people today. In fact, this gave me a good laugh. Marjorie Taylor Greene, the brilliant woman behind the scenes trying to put together this third party, take out Trump. It's too smart for Congress, had to step down. She fell for a phishing scam. She just had her X account taken. Someone hacked my account, and now I'm locked out. Guess it was a phishing scam imitating X. I clicked on ticket details, so my account was going to permanently delete unless I took action. Since I've been permanently deleted before I followed instructions, they were able to get my password, log in, change the password. Now I'm locked out. She fell for the oldest internet trick in the book. Just giving her stuff away. This is supposed to be a very smart woman on the outside who cares about our security, cares about what we're doing in the world, analyzes what the president's doing, and yet she is totally succumbed. But this is a woman who worked in security details in Congress, and she doesn't know how to do basic internet security. Was it a Nigerian prince? Maybe she was hoping to get married to somebody much richer, because when she did just get married, it was in Vegas. Classy woman. 1 month ago today, Brian and I got married in Vegas. Here's a glimpse of our special day. Nothing like getting married in Vegas, folks. Nothing says class act like getting married in Vegas and then running off to Costa Rica. That's exactly what we want from people who are supposed to be looking to as leaders, as people in a movement helping us out. I mean, as you can see, folks, the more we get to know these people, the more we actually pay attention to them and break them down, the more ridiculous they get. It's getting so bad for them that even now Alex Jones is now coming full circle and trying to make amends with Dan Bongino. Maybe it's because Dan called out all the grifters the other day for being controlled by foreign actors by getting paid to say what they're going to say. I mean, maybe. It is funny that as soon as Dan Bongino called them all out for being paid, that the very next day, Alex Jones, I love Dan Bongino. It's time for the infighting to stop. Here's a little words of wisdom from Alex.
You know, I have mixed feelings about Dan Bongino coming out today with no evidence and saying I'm on foreign government payrolls.
You see, guys, he brought it up first thing. Can you tell he's a little worried?
But when I was getting ready to talk about it, I just thought about the fact, why is this the focus? Of course I'm not on any foreign government payroll. That's crazy. But why is this the focus? we hear from the neocons, oh, we're Russian agents, oh, we're Qatari agents. I didn't take a $300 million plane like Trump from the Qataris. And I didn't even really criticize it when Trump did it. But, like, how am I being accused of stuff with no evidence? Then I realized it's just a big tar baby. The people trying to take control of the Trump administration want to demonize his base, want to attack his base, then have us attack Trump so that those Israel lobby people and others can have full control of the president.
Oh, yeah, I just realized that the way they're doing it is they're trying to get us all to attack each other. So now Israel can truly control Trump. That's how it works. I figured it out, guys. I figured it out. Thank you, Dan, for making me think about this in a new way. Thank you, Dan. I appreciate it.
And that's what this is really all about. It's about a fight about access. And I knew this. I went through this in the first administration, and now it's here. And I'm kind of mad at myself for even taking the bait. I didn't fully take it. I'm still not noticing it.
Guys, the truth is, I've known what was happening the whole time. But I didn't trust my gut. I didn't trust it. I tried to convince myself of something new. But the truth is, because I'm Alex Jones and I'm always right, I already knew the truth before I said the truth. So even though I was lying to you, I knew what the truth was. And I'm mad at myself now.
Fighter, but I've still in-fought a little bit too much. And so I apologize to everybody. And I'm going to follow a longer report I just shot in studio. We're adding a few documents and articles too in the next few hours. And then I'm done. Bongino can say that I murdered my children and barbecued them on the front lawn of the White House. I'm not talking about it. These other people can say whatever they want. I'm going to stay on the Democrat Socialist America, on the globalists, on the Red Green Alliance, on Hollywood, on the pedophiles and what they're doing.
I'm going to stay focused now on the real bad guys because I'm tired of them. I'm tired of them pulling us apart, folks. I'm tired of them. Is it maybe because your views are down, Alex? Is it maybe because the FARA violations are about to come out? Is it because Representative Luna is going to start forcing you guys to show who you're paid for? Could that have anything to do with it? I got to say the timing is a little suspect. Let's see how he's doing on his promise now to keep us focused on the Democrats. Well, what's one of the first things he does the very next day? Well, he has Owen Benjamin in. That man's absolutely crazy Trump hater. He's going after the beef that Trump's importing. I don't know if that's doing anything for the Trump administration against Democrats and the globalists. Here's more on the beef. Oh, emergency warning on the coming global meltdown. That sounds like it's focused, Alex. Well done. And then impending AI takeover. Who's pushing AI more than anybody else right now? It's Donald Trump for our economy. Alex, I thought we knew better. I thought we were going to stick to the Democrats and the globalists and the socialists trying to take over this Hollywood, the pedophiles. But I can't help myself. I got to go after all of Alex, all of Trump's agenda because, well, darn it. I don't know. This is crazy. But this is Alex Jones. That's who he is. That lasted all of an hour. I don't know, but oh man, it's just hilarious. One of the things that was hilarious too was last night watching Rich Barris crash out over the Darlene Graham win. Rich Barris, the day before the election, early voting ended looking bad for Darlene Graham. She pulled all her positive ads and is now only full negative. 10 days ago, Ralph's internal had him up 52-40. Really? She beat him by 6 points. That's an 18-point miss there. He says this is pissing me off as he shares this post. Why is it pissing him off? Because here's Rich Barris calling out somebody who's calling him out. He says, LOL, you stupid dumbass. Try playing the entire clip. I said I bet on how people misinterpret the early vote, and that's easy money. It's not manipulation because I'm smarter than you. Really? Because, Rich, we got the receipts. You were calling out the early vote for Norman. These people are such frauds, man. And thanks to the internet, it's all forever. But one of my favorite things that just came out, and we'll end with this because it's hilarious. You know, all these influencers, what do they use? They use Apple products. So I cannot wait to see how they treat this one, as it just came out that Apple is now using Israeli chips for the iPhone 17. These chips will control internet browsing, the camera, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and battery. If you have an iPhone, you can thank Israel for that, says Mike Huckabee. Uh-oh. Apple is now the Israel phone. I cannot wait to see if all these guys ditch their Apple products, which they are all mostly using. This is hilarious. And of course, it's the Jews. So guys, I'll tell you right now, if they don't go if they don't go taking on Apple, are they really true believers? All right, folks. Well, listen, wanted to just have some fun today. As you can see, the grifters, they're in a bad place. They don't have a whole lot going on right now. They're making all kinds of dumb mistakes, saying kind of stupid things. But just remember, we can have fun. We can have fun covering them, even when they're causing damage. But the truth is, their influence is waning. We have caught on to the grift. And so for now, let's just have fun. Have fun calling them out while other people do great work mocking them. And in Candace's words,
explain how that dog can talk?
That's another good question for Israel.
That's another good question for Israel. All right, guys. Thank you for watching today. Hit that like and subscribe. I appreciate you guys. I'll spend a little bit of time in the chat, catch up with you guys before calling it a day here. Let's see here. Let's see. Doc says, does Alex even break 1,000 likes on his tweets anymore? That's a good question. Let's go look at Alex's page. Oh, I guess I'm already on the page. So his posts, 250. That one's pretty new. Here's 11, 20, 69, 34. It was not good. 115, 90, 80. These are all today. Let's go back a couple days. Let's see how Alex's engagement is doing. Here's 5,000, 280. I mean, so he's still breaking through sometimes. His live shows still do a lot. I mean, I'm not gonna pretend they don't. Like this live show right now has, where's the, it's not showing the viewers right now. Oh, 38,000 views. So he's still getting a lot of views. I saw the breaking news in Nepal. It's horrific stuff. Yeah, it's horrific. Maybe Mossad could blow up Candace's phone. I'm glad you guys enjoyed that segment. I could tell by the laughs. That worked. You know, sometimes there's not much to say. There's nothing like crazy coming out. So we'll just laugh. It's good to laugh. It's healing to the soul. Sasha says, you're not the base, Alex. You called for his impeachment several times. Yeah, I mean, and his going down with the 25th Amendment. Lou Proven says, I'm with Johnny. Jesse Waters left too many effective BS talking points going challenge his exchange with El Sayed. He seemed unprepared. The one area I thought he did really bad was the when El Sayed was talking about affordability and taxing the rich, and Jesse just started mocking him for like being a communist instead of actually like bringing like how stupid it is to tax the rich more and how much they already pay. Yeah, he didn't do a good job with that. I'll agree with you on that one. Girl Scouts have Muslim badges? Are you serious? That's crazy. Shizky, have people already made up their minds on issues in Trump admin for the midterms? A lot of people have. People paying attention have made up their minds. I'll say that right now. And so you're going to have, I don't know. So say America, 100% America. I'd say the people voting Democrat, no matter what, it's 25% of America, maybe 30%. People voting Republican, no matter what, is probably another like 35, 40% of America. But on the Republican side, you have less people turning out because on the Republican side, we're now the working class party, which means less people on our side are voting are showing up for midterm elections and primaries. They have the educated party, the college type, so they're more likely to show up for elections. So even though they have a lower percentage, they make up for it in higher turnout. So those two, we have a little bit of advantage on the Republican side, but it's not the full advantage if everybody showed up. Then you have 20 to 30% of people who are not paying much attention. They maybe like Trump a little bit, but they don't really like what's happening. They maybe hate Trump, but they really hate the Democrats, and so they haven't decided what they're going to do, and they'll make up their mind. And so, and part of making up their mind is whether or not they'll even show up. Okay. But of people who will definitely vote, maybe 5% of them, 10% of them are still making up their mind. But that 5-10% will change the whole thing, Will Android bots be able to access your Android phone? I don't know what you mean by that. Good Eye Park says Republicans need to argue with numbers. Talking points are last century. People are much more discerning than they used to be. Commies can't argue numbers except their death toll. Yes and no. I'm going to kind of disagree with you there. Unfortunately, the vast majority of people who are actually going to vote that can be swayed, they're emotional voters. I hate to tell you that. They are not going to be swayed by numbers. I'm not saying no number could sway them, but they have to feel it. They have to either be angry about something or feel really good about something in order to vote. So yeah, it's the most effective ad in 2024 for changing votes, not the most effective overall ad for like showing up the base or anything, but for changing votes was the trans ad that Kamala is for, like Trump is for you, and Kamala's for they, them. They did that ad and it changed more people's votes than anything else. And it had nothing to do with numbers. It was all emotional. So that's the kind of thing you need to sway middle voters. Numbers really don't do much, unfortunately. And I can tell you this as somebody who worked in marketing. Doc said, Sandwich says, update on Lichtman. He did make a midterm prediction. He predicts a blue wave with a possibility of Trump rigging the elections. Oh my God. That is pathetic. That's actually pathetic. That is funny though. That sounds like Lichtman. Do you do actual numbers? September is going to be very interesting. I agree. Who else here? Did I miss any good ones? All right, not seeing much. Hitting the 3-hour mark. So, Punch Cat with the jewels for 10, hiding for 10 jewels. Thank you so much. Yeah, you're welcome. Goodbye, Park. Look, we all want to believe that people make choices based on real information, right? We all want to believe that because that's the ideal. And the truth is like logically, it just, most people don't follow logic to make decisions. They follow their feeling, and then they look for logical reasons to support their feeling. That's just a fact. I'm not saying it's right, and I'm not saying it's necessarily how you are, even though all of us have beliefs that sometimes we've created a barrier for why we believe them when it might not be true. Some of those lies are very big lies. Some of them are small lies that don't ultimately affect us too much, but we all have something. And some people have a lot of stuff. So, yeah, unfortunately, like the way you really change a mind on something big is changing the heart. You have to impact somebody. You have to get through their brain. And then you can start, so like the only time people have their brains, like their minds changed by logic is when they're genuinely curious about something. So if, say I'm somebody who just genuinely trusts Democrats more because I liked Barack Obama and Bill Clinton, but I don't like the Democrats now as much, but I still just, my DNA is that I'm a Democrat. And And so the election's coming up and I'm like, maybe I'd vote for the Republican, but I'm not curious enough and I'm not affected enough to really investigate it. So when I show up on election day, I'm probably just checking that blue check. But if I'm like, man, the Democrats are so bad, I am one of them, but my God, I just don't understand. My dad was one, my grandpa was one. I don't want to be a Republican, but I gotta know if we're right. And then I go investigating. That's a person you can change a vote through logic. Otherwise, you need to break through in a big way. And that breakthrough can be like, here's a video of a boy playing in a girl's sport and knocking her out. And Democrats allowed this. And you say, oh my God, that's horrific. We allowed that? I can't vote for that. That's how you get to something emotionally. Tim pulls latest headline for Timcast: World War III is coming and there'll be a drive. Oh God. Are you serious right now? Let me pull this up. Oh, Timmy. Tim Timony. Tim Turi. Let's see. Here it is. You're right. Right here. U.S. prepares military draft amid World War III fears. CIA secretly meets Putin. I mean, this is very clearly Tim just trying to get viewers. I know how Tim works. He's going to pull you in on this or pull viewers in on this. And then he's going to talk about how it's like, it doesn't mean there's going to be a draft. It doesn't mean there's going to be World War III. He'll say stuff like that. I know how Tim works. Whereas, Alex Jones would be like, they're beating over a draft right now. The plan is to get us in. That's not what Tim will do. Tim will he's just pulling it. It must be slow news day. I'll say that for Tim. Must be a slow news day. But that's funny. This is where I have my disagreements with Tim, okay? Tim is willing to blackpill for views, and also sometimes he believes it. Tim is I'll say this about Tim. Tim's not a Christian, and let me explain why that matters. When you're a Christian, you're kind of commanded to hope, and you get the Holy Spirit, and the Holy Spirit is the spirit of hope. So you have to like fight not to have hope as a Christian. It's in your DNA. It changes you. Tim doesn't have that. Tim is like conservative leaning now. I do still think he's an independent guy. I do. I still haven't seen evidence that he's gone full grifter, but he's running a show. He's running a business, and he is very black-pilled over certain things. And this is where I have my disagreements with Tim and where I get upset at him and why I can't listen to him all the time. But I still have yet to see the thing that tells me he is actively working to promote propaganda. I haven't ever seen that from Tim. And I've looked. You guys know I look. I follow all these people. I'm the guy who completely changed my mind on Tucker Carlson, completely changed my mind on like Megyn Kelly back in the day. I've had people I've liked completely flipped on. I'm very open to it. I have a huge BS detector when I start hearing these narratives. Tim has never given me that impression. And I've watched him a lot. I used to watch him all the time, but he does drive me nuts with this stuff. But I don't think he's a full-on lying grifter. Yeah, Tim does admit when he's wrong a lot. Yeah. I'll say this too about Tim. He gets mad at grifters. Like he calls out Alex Jones. He called out Candace Owens. He says stuff like Tucker says is ridiculous, but here's a problem Tim has. He also knows a lot of them personally, especially Alex. And so he had a hard time. Like he's old school. He's old school loyal, which is a good thing. Honestly, I'm old school loyal too. Like if I had a best friend, so like this like, let me bring up, like, I'm going to use this to bring up the whole, JD Vance, Tucker Carlson thing. Okay. JD Vance at one point had a relationship with Tucker Carlson and he considered him a friend, and Tucker, being much older than JD and probably on the inside of DC, took JD Vance under his wing and kind of was like, here's the way. And he was doing this when he was most MAGA. So Tucker was seeding all this into JD when Tucker was at his most pro-Trump stuff. And so JD, probably built some trust with him. And now Tucker's gone crazy. Well, I have friends that have gone crazy. I'm not going to call them out publicly unless I absolutely had to and had no other choice. I don't think JD Vance is at the point where he feels like, even though my friend is going crazy, I'm not going to call him out publicly. I think that's why JD Vance treats it the way he does. And so I don't see it as a problem, because I certainly wouldn't call my friends out unless I absolutely had to, unless it was 100% had no other choice. I wouldn't do that because I'm old school loyal. It's a guy thing. It's like most males are that way. At least males with like real, like masculine males. It takes a lot to call out a friend. It's bro code, So, I'm not calling out Tim, Missy. You don't have to get all defensive. I'm not calling out Tim. I think Tim runs a decent show. I think he tries to get to the truth most of the time. But I don't like a lot of his perspectives on things. Tim gives people what they want. They love the drama. Tim runs a show. He's an entertainer while also trying to give news. I fully believe that's where Tim's gone to, and I don't hate him for it. Good for him. He's making bank, and he's not promoting propaganda. I can dislike this segment and still have no problem that he did it. Steven Crowder's the same way. Steven Crowder's very entertaining, and he knows he knows how to build an audience. Good for him. I don't always talk bad about Tim. I feel like I defend Tim compared to what other people say. I'm not changing my mind on the Bidens. That's not happening. Tim, you know what? One thing Tim has that I don't like. Let me be fair. One thing I like about Tim is he's willing to go there on pretty much anything. He doesn't ignore topics, and he is very anti-woke. And out of all the people who haven't fully chosen a side, he defends Trump quite a bit. And he calls out the blackpilling on Trump all the time. So that's what I like about Tim. What I don't like about Tim is that he has that, excuse me, I'm getting a little dry here. What I don't like about Tim is he's got that thing in him where he'll just never trust people in power. And so even though Tim is, likes a lot of what Trump's doing, he never will fully trust that Trump is all the way trying to do good stuff for us. So he's also going to say stuff that is he also will bring up concerns sometimes that are kind of nonsense. So, and this is a good example of it. He shafted his own brother. Well, that depends on who you believe, whether you believe Tim or his brother. I personally, knowing his brother's past, I believe Tim over his brother. But I'm not going to argue too much on Tim, guys. I have a very nuanced opinion of Tim Pool, and nothing anybody writes in here is going to convince me otherwise. I've watched since 2020 when I first discovered Tim Pool, and I was a huge viewer of his for many years. Now I don't watch him that much. I watch him maybe once, twice a week. But I used to watch him every day, and I've watched hundreds of hours of Tim's content. So I have a very strong opinion of Tim that won't be changed very easily. Lickman did a whole map prediction. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Listen, I generally, in general, I liked him. So I'll just say that. My relationship with Tim is 70% positive. Well, actually more like 75% positive, 25% negative. But that 25% negative makes me more, it bothers me more and more all the time. Because we're at the point where I'm we don't have time for this, Tim. Doc says, I saw a video on Hunter saying Hakeem Jeffries should step down. He's adding fuel to the fire to benefit Nice try. Nice try. Missy, keep watching him. I'm not trying to tell you what to think of him. I'm just giving my own personal opinions. That's all. I like watch Tim all you want. Go for it. I definitely wouldn't tell anybody not to watch Tim. I think in general, you'll get a good perspective on the news from him. Let's see what else is happening here. Asmongold calling out Hassan. That's excellent. The whole jelly roll thing is so dumb, but ridiculous, because anytime a country star turns on Trump, it's bad for them. Yeah, interesting stuff. All right, folks. We rock the Beanie Weenie 65. Well, he's already bald, so probably. Oh, Tim does have some terrible guests. You know when Tim is the best? You know when Tim's the absolute best? When he has like stupid liberals on. That is when Tim's show is must watch viewing. When he has like Brian Shapiro on, or who was the other he had some chick on, because he gets so mad at their arguments because they just say the dumbest stuff, and Tim flips out. And he will attack them. And I love it. He'll just be like, what are you even saying right now? You don't know what you're talking about. Tim will go nuts. And I love it. Angry Tim Pool is the absolute best. He is the absolute best. Missy says success makes you adverse to questioning your own beliefs. Missy, that's such a dumb thing to say. I'm sorry. I don't know why you'd say that to me. I'm somebody who's literally changed my beliefs on people. I've already talked about this over the last 3.5 years, but here's the thing. Some beliefs should not be changed easily. If you've spent 25 years growing in your political beliefs as I have, they shouldn't be changed easily. I know what I'm talking about. My Bible, faith belief, that's never going to be changed easily. So I don't know what you mean by my beliefs. I have core beliefs that are unlikely to ever change for the rest of my life. But when it comes to people and whether I can trust them or not, that shifts all the time. The way you said it, you're accusing me of saying I have some success, which I'm not Tim Pool. I'm not like rich and famous, but you're accusing me of saying like, I'm not willing to look through, like, you don't know me. Why would you say something like that? I don't understand why you'd say something like that. It was a dumb thing to say. You shouldn't say stuff like that. Like, how about instead of saying something like that and accusing me of being like bullheaded, why don't you just if you have a problem with one of my beliefs, bring me a countervailing argument of something and we can discuss. Okay. I just think the way you said that was a dumb thing. I didn't say there's something wrong with challenging my beliefs, except that I will say this, there comes a point when challenging your beliefs is a waste of time. And let me say why. Because at some point you've challenged your beliefs so much that they are become solidified. And at some point you need to just leave them alone and let God handle that. See, I don't believe in always digging up into your soul and trying to figure yourself out. I don't believe in that. I think that's a waste of time. I believe that you do the best you can with what you know and you keep growing. And God, through the Holy Spirit, will ping you when it's time to wake up to something. And you know how I know that? I've changed my beliefs politically when it comes to I used to be, you could have called me a neocon, completely changed on that. I used to believe in free trade and libertarian economics. I no longer believe in that. I used to believe the end times were big and scary and there was an antichrist and a one world government coming and all that. I no longer believe that. I'm somebody who's changed my beliefs over time, but I've always done it when I felt God shifting me to open my eyes up to something new. I didn't do it myself because that's a waste of time. If I was always challenging my beliefs, I'd be coming on here just being wishy-washy and being like, well, guys, I'm not sure about this, but here's what I'm thinking could be, but maybe it could be this. And nobody wants there's no conviction. There's no moving anything. I'm sorry. I just don't agree with you. I just don't agree with that. I don't think she's trolling me. I think she's actually I'm not mad at her. I don't think she's trolling me. I think it was a dumb thing to say. I really do. The blue Jew? Who's the blue Jew? Hiding Nux? What's Nux? I don't know who these people are. I don't think she was a troll, guys. Okay. I think she just I think she just has an opinion that I think is ridiculous, and that's okay. Nux is a Jew? Who's Nux? It's Nux. I'm not changing my show, folks. Don't worry. I'm not changing who I am. Is it this guy? Nux Taku? Oh, Nuxanor. Nuxanor? 1 million subs? Who is this? That's not Nuxanor. Why did it take me here? I thought I clicked on that channel. Nuxanor. Oh, he's sharing Shoe on Head. She's funny. You guys got me looking into this. What the heck?
Up Donald Trump, probably the most impactful man in the
no,
world.
No, I can't do it. I can't do the AI generated
over the last
peeps.
decade.
Sorry.
I say probably because I want other.
Maybe it's funny. I just can't do it. I need real people. I'm sorry. I can't do it. Can't do it. He's based. That's awesome. Yeah, I've never heard of this person. Maybe I'll listen. Maybe I'll listen. I can't watch it. That drives me nuts. But I'll listen and see what it's like. It's no AI. I mean, well, I mean,
feel good about themselves.
He's got
They're
an
literally
AI
gonna kill each other. All right.
AI avatar on top of him. Okay, I'll listen. I'll give it a shot. Don't let my chat drag me in the abyss. I'm open to suggestions. Right-wing Jew, he says, oh, okay, that makes sense. Let's see here. We can agree to disagree. What were we agreeing to disagree on? I missed it. Did he get demonetized for doing this show? All right. VTuber. What's a VTuber? Listen, you guys, I don't know. Is this some new like Gen Z thing? I don't know what that is. He does a Tucker Carlson impression. I'm a boomer. Listen, dude. Okay, I'm 42. I don't have time to spend all my life on YouTube. I don't listen to a lot of political channels because most of them, I don't have time to, I have to research. And so now I am on the lookout always for new and interesting things. So, I mean, I'll listen. I'll see how it works. But, I need to put black people. Are we doing this? Are you really doing this? I've listened to Black Conservative. I didn't love the show. Some of his stuff's good. I mean, his takes are fine. I didn't love the show. I didn't love the presentation. Like most of us, he has a life. I have a very busy life, just to be honest with you guys. Do you know what it takes? Like, first of all, I do this show 3 hours, 5 days a week at least. And then on top of that, it takes me 2 to 3 hours to put the show together every day. So that's research and arrangement. So that's 5-6 hours a day just doing the show. Then some days I have interviews. I got other stuff to work on the side. Building the membership, doing some marketing stuff for people. I'm very busy, very busy. So yeah, I don't always find, but I am looking for stuff to listen to because sometimes when I'm working, I like to just put my pods in and listen. You think he's more about comedy? Okay. Yeah, I'm at the point where I mostly just listen to Promethean and Richard too. Use Candace method, just riff, no research. That's exactly what she does. Exactly. All right, folks, I got to get out of here. Speaking of that. So, thank you guys for watching today. Appreciate everybody. Please hit the like, subscribe. Missy, don't worry. I didn't think you were a troll. Listen, thanks to everybody who gave today, supporting the channel, members, super chats, all that stuff. You guys are amazing. Really appreciate you guys. Let's end in a prayer. We'll call it a day and I'll be back again tomorrow, 12 o'clock. Don Julio, you watch. I do watch Asman. I don't watch his whole stream, but some Asman clips I watch, they're great. So, all right, guys. You guys are the best. So let's pray. Heavenly Father, thank you for today. God bless everybody in the chat watching today, Lord, and everybody else watching. Be with them, Lord. Thank you for their support of the channel just by watching here and being a part of this. Father, we pray for President Trump and his team. God, please protect them through all this craziness. And Father, just give them the heavenly secrets, the wisdom to navigate the craziest things going on right now, so we can see an end to so many evil things going on, God, without massive war, without massive disruption, but in a way that we still win thoroughly and the people are safe. That's what we're praying for, Lord. And Father, we pray for exposure to the corrupt, the grifters, whoever, Lord, that they would be exposed and justice would come. And Lord, that we could leave a better nation to our kids, grandkids, and great-grandkids than we ever have seen and ever maybe could have even dreamed of. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Love you guys. Appreciate you. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Screaming like a siren at night, red and blue shouting, nobody's right. Smoke in the streets, truth under attack. Everybody's loud, nobody's got facts. Feeds keep scrolling, nerves stay tight. Matchsticks flicked in the dead of night. They sell fear, cheap package the lies, while the clock keeps ticking, empires on fire. Can't sit quiet while the world's on edge. Lines in the sand, standing on the ledge. No script, no leash, no polish, quiet, just a voice in the dark and a spark to the